This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Sunrise Safari. It's great to, of course, have you all on board this morning. Sorry for the late start. Don't worry, I was up and ready, and hopefully we're going to find all sorts of wonderful things. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is Zenzo, and I don't know what we're going to find with all this wonderful weird wilderness around, but we'll see what we can do. Now, for those of you who've been watching the dam cam I suppose it's all day long for a lot of you, while we were all sleeping soundly, is that you've been watching Hosanna. So we're going to head right into that direction. I don't think there's anyone in the camps, unless there were some very late sort of check-ins last night. But I'm not actually sure. So we're going to do a little bit of sneaking around as well. I'll be doing some spy work this morning before we get to the dam with my binoculars to see if there is any movement around the lodge. Normally the guests would be having coffee at this time, and then they should head out in a little bit if there's anybody there. But I have a suspicion that there's no one there, which kind of works in our favor, because it means that we can go right to the front of the pan without disturbing anybody. Just remember, if you are a new viewer, we typically don't go right in front of the pan until all the guests are out of camp. As you can imagine, they want the exclusivity and the privateness that the wilderness has to offer, not to have us annoying them all day long. So we'll head and we'll do that. But remember, you can chat to us, #SafariLive on Twitter, or also you can talk to us on the YouTube chat. It's not so bad. Hey, I know I've got my big jacket on. It's actually not that thick. It's definitely cooled down from yesterday's sweltering. It was definitely 41 yesterday. The internet was lying to us about the temperature. So it was quite pleasant. It actually cooled down quite quickly last night. We were all a bit worried that we were going to die in our rooms and that there'd be no one here to do the show in the morning. We all would have just melted into our beds. But luckily by about 10:30, 11 or so, it was quite nice, and there was a wonderful breeze flowing through my room, cooling me down. So that was nice at least. You know, it's one thing it being quite hot during the day, because you know, you can go, we're lucky, we do have the option to go down to the pool if we want to, but then of course at night you can't escape the heat at all. There's nothing worse than trying to sleep when you're stuck to your sheets. Okay, well yes, I need to do some investigating, so let me quickly let's stop here and have a quick look. I'm not looking into anyone's rooms. I'm not a peeping Tom, I promise. I'm just staring onto the deck, because normally you'll see some lights and things, someone will be preparing coffee, and there is no one. So I'm quite confident in saying that there is no one here. So let's go up a bit closer. If you were all watching Hosanna on the dam cam, did he go in any particular direction, or is he still just hiding there? Joshua, I haven't got a clue. I've only just started the safari this morning, so I don't know where the buffalo are. You'll have to give me a little bit of time to go searching for them, if we do go searching for them. I'm obviously first going to check here for Hosanna, and then we'll probably, if we don't find anything here, go look for the buffalo, maybe just to see if the lions came through. I'm just checking carefully. Before I go any closer and scare all the animals away, does anybody know where Hosanna went? Because you've all been watching him very closely. I've been tagged in lots of things, so I don't want to go there and disturb what's happening, in case Hosanna is just hiding away, just behind somewhere. Maybe he's somewhere here. Anyways, you can see the impala are on edge. But we'll do a bit of investigating to try and find the young chief. David is also up, and he's watching the sun rise over the Mara. Oh, goodness, everybody. Sorry, there seems to be a whole lot of gremlins affecting a wide range of things this morning. Anyways, this group of impala haven't seemed to have picked up on a leopard because they're going back for another drink of water, although they are quite nervous around the water's edge, as you can see, as they should be. Perhaps there's now tails, you know, going through the mara. Oh, hang on. Nah, I think that was just one impala ram chasing a ewe. Ah, thank you, TPA. You said, Hosanna went the direction that I've come from. There's the ram chasing the ewe around. Go, girl, run away. Get out of there. Nice camera work, Senzo. Very, very cool. It's not easy following impala when it's at full tilt. Here he goes again. Now they've got the downhill. It'll add to the momentum. Meow. Look how fast he's going. You can also just see how dry it is as they run and they kick up all that dust. Looks like he's growing tired now. Yeah, she's fitter than you. Alright, we are going to try this again. We're going to try and go across to the Mara with David, and I bet the sun is still rising. Hopefully, it's still as pretty.
Hello everyone, and a very good morning everybody, and welcome to our sunrise safari drive from the Mara Triangle in Kenya. We're very lucky to start with great sunrise, and that's the eastern horizon. And Nick in the final controls, that is beautiful, amazing, and you can see the silhouettes of an alley there, touchwood trees, and what a way to start the morning. A toppy, the antelope to the left, or behind the alley there. We call it a toppy. And how is everybody doing? And as always, my name is David, Jambo Jambo, and on the camera with me this morning is Manu. Manu, how are you doing? A good sleep? Muzuri sana is a lot of Greek, he said, and I want to find out what that means. And we go back to our alleys, and they're just showing us why the African wilderness cannot be compared to anything else in the world. Remember, this is a very interactive safari. Car is awesome. You say this looks like the lion safari. It is, and again, as I said earlier, this is a very interactive safari, and you're very welcome to ask any questions. That's a great comment that I just got, and you will do that as you tweet on hashtag SafariLive. How amazing is that? And as Katam said, it looks like the Lion King. Those are toppies just passing on the screen there. Look at that baby and the mother. See how different they are and what they want to do. I think they want to cross the road, and that baby, it's very different. Look at that calf. How different. Two calves there and mothers, and see how different they look in their colors compared to their mothers. The mothers have dark tan colors, and if you look on the hind quarters and the front quarters on the legs, which is much darker or black in color, and the calves there are very different from their mothers. As I said earlier, this is the Mara Triangle. A very good morning, great temperatures, about 13 degrees Celsius, 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Thomas, look at those antelopes running there. And what type of animal do I like the most, Thomas? Lots of animals. But here in the Masai Mara, I will say my favorite animal, Thomas, is the elephant. And having said that, Manu is trying to show you why I like elephants. Thomas, look at those big animals there. And why I think, or I believe I love elephants more than anything else, is just because they'll always do something. We enjoy seeing cats like lions or cheetahs or leopards, but sometimes you see them baying flat or doing nothing. But it's very unusual, or rather difficult, Thomas, to see an elephant almost doing nothing. In the background there, you see trucks, or a truck that is passing there that do ballooning. They carry the balloon basket. But we're enjoying this ourselves. Diane, we have lived with these animals for so very many years. And what happens when they're looking at you, they might be trying to digest what you're made of or what you are up to. And if you have stopped, not a lot of movement, you're not very loud, and you have switched off your engine, they'll just continue doing their business. But should you look at them and you see them changing their body language, then you'll have to think maybe she or he is a bit uncomfortable with you, and you may have either to back up or just move away. But as you see now, most of them are just going, doing their normal business, which is munching in the early morning, because as I said earlier, the temperatures are cool, and they just grab some piece of grass here and just keep moving. Diane, look how beautiful that is. I don't know why it is turning. It is tail on one side. Not sure that is on purpose, or there's something. Oh, okay, it's just fine. Maybe it was having a poop. I just wondered. The tail was coiled in a particular angle, and I thought, it was arched in a way that something could have been wrong. So elephants being mixed feeders, you'll see them out like where she is, feeding on the grass, and then sometimes they get in those forests there, where they'll be, browsing and eating leaves and seeds. Giraffe girl, Jumbo, and how are you? I am so happy to hear your name. Where have you been, Giraffe girl, as much as I've been away? And as your name suggests, I know you love giraffes, and I got a job to do, Giraffe girl. I do the best I can to get you one or two giraffes at one point. So cross your fingers, be with me, keep watching, don't go anywhere, and hopefully we'll get some giraffes for you. In the meantime, we'll take you to the beautiful girl, Taylor Makuni, all the way in South Africa.
I'm practicing my reversing again. I'm so sorry, I have to concentrate because I'm on the damn wall. Can you imagine what a disaster that would be if I took my eyes off of the road for just even a second? I'd end up it would be entertaining. You'd watch me drive off of the damn wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reverse all the way down. I'm going to go behind the damn wall. There's a lot of chatter coming from the birds. There's two birds that are alarming sort of subtly, so I don't know if there's maybe that African wildcat that we once got a glimpse of, a couple of months ago, about 2-3 months ago. Maybe it's that's ruffling the feathers of the birds. Yeah, let's just check. Anyways, okay, we'll go here. I have not seen one track of Hosana yet. I've seen lots of hyena tracks, so it's difficult to try and gauge where he went. I was hoping that when you all said he came from the direction that I came, we were going to just see some tracks relatively easily, but alas, he seems to have walked everywhere but on the roads. So now I've got to go over this massive hump in the road that always makes me feel like the car is going to tip over. Okay, let's go up and through here. So Hosana does like it back here. There's often so many daycare and steenboks. I'm going to check carefully. He doesn't really respond to the vehicles. You could quite easily just walk past him. Not walk past him, drive past him. Why did I say walk past him? See, there's this Franklin that's going tick, tick, tick. Like he's being an annoying bird and just watching something. Cat is awesome. Welcome. Who's a new viewer? Well, Well, I'm glad you stumbled across the SafariLive stream. That's pretty cool. So, and you've also worked out how to ask questions. Fantastic. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to fit. There's a tight gap here. Oh, that's a seriously tight squeeze. Oh no, I may have made a mistake. Not trying to get in here. Sorry, quarry tree. No, okay, we've just made it. See, it's chirping down here. Where? Why? What are you shouting at? Oh, wow. So apparently Hosanna went over the dam wall 3 hours ago. That's from Danny. Thank you, Danny. I wonder if he's not down in that drainage line over there just around the corner. That Franklin hasn't stopped making a noise. But there are other starlings and things like that. I thought that they would be making some kind of alarm if there was a leopard there. It doesn't seem like it. Okay, perhaps we were mistaken. Perhaps it is just something small. Maybe a slender mongoose has run out. And that's what that Franklin is unhappy with. Okay, well, thanks, Danny, for the information. That does help a lot. Off you go back to the Mara. It seems as though David is having a great start, and he's now got a raptor.
Yeah. Oops. Well, good luck, Taylor, and hopefully you're going to see my favorite leopard in South African Juma. Hosanna still remains my favorite leopard because he was the very first leopard I saw when I went to South Africa for training and working. We got an eagle here, and we are very lucky, just sitting on top of a torchwood tree, or what we call a balanite. And I think this is a black-chested snake eagle. Black-chested snake eagle, and not sure where she is looking at, but I think it's too early for her to be looking for snakes. Black-chested snake eagles tend to perch on the very top bits of trees to be able to view around themselves, and from my thinking, she's looking in our direction. I don't think it should be interested to any one of us. Maybe not me, not Manu. What do you think, Manu? Manu is not sure about that. Notice how they turn their head. Not like owls, where we might say that owls might go almost 280 or 200 degrees as they swing their head. But snake eagles can see such a long way. Very sharp eyesight they got. And they need to spot a snake from a distance and also see it moving. There's one time I saw a snake eagle, I think it was a brown snake eagle, and it happened I was in a very open area, and as I was watching her, she took off and I followed her because I was in an open, clear area, and I drove for about 2.5 kilometers, and where she stopped, she picked up a black mamba. So 2.5 kilometers sighting a black mamba. I thought that was very special. I would truly respect snake eagles for such great eyesight. And again, as I said earlier, this is a very interactive safari drive we're doing. Should you have any questions or any comments, send them through tweet #SafariLive. Have you seen anything? And most snake eagles will have yellow eyes. Who cares, Max? You're talking of Jacobab's story, baby lions. Well, I got some homework to do, and I got 3 assignments to do. The Jacobabs, that's the number 1. Lion cubs, that's number 2. And I still got giraffe girl with the giraffe. I got work to do. And having said that, I think my assignments are getting bigger. It's time I make a move, and hopefully this eagle will get something to eat. And I think it's time to just head out and see whether I'll get the jackal pups or the lion cubs or giraffes for Giraffe Girl. All right, Manu. Manu, did you hear all that? Yes. Manu will be working with me, and because Manu is not tall like me, I'll request him to look on the ground, to be looking for those cubs, or, you know, lion cubs, and I'll be looking for the giraffes because I'm much taller than him. Okay. Very good. Not only me out here, we have Taylor, and there is another gentleman called Stivovo, and he would like to say jumbo to all of you.
Jumbo, Jumbo, good morning everybody. How are we doing? Welcome to Djuma in the Sabi Sands. My name is Steve. I'm joined on camera by VM. We were a little bit late out. We were supposed to be doing a bushwalk, but that hasn't quite gone to plan, so we're animals and plants and whatever else this morning. Please send through whatever you'd like us to talk about, your questions, hashtag SafariLive, drop them on the YouTube stream, let us know what's going on, give us a few ideas of what you'd like to talk about this morning, and hopefully we can fit that in. It is a beautiful morning. Once again, no jackets on. Definitely summer is on the way. I slept last night with my fan on full blast and the window wide open, so it is definitely turning for the warm side of the year, which is always nice, but it takes a little bit of getting used to. And then once we're in it, it's almost like when you put a frog in boiling water, it eventually gets used to it. But at the moment, I feel like I'm dipping my toe in the boiling water. So it's not the slow acclimatization at the moment as we would like. Okay, so we're going to be looking for some tracks, see what's moving around. It's a beautiful morning, as I said. Oh, Ginger, you'd like to see some dwarf mongoose? I'd love to try and find you some. They haven't been as busy of late. They were very, very busy a few months ago. Ooh, there's the same tracks we saw yesterday. Okay, well, we're heading back along the same road we were on yesterday. I know Taylor's gone sort of that direction looking for a sauna. I know this road over here has got a few little dwarf mongoose, little lairs, should we say, little burrows. Maybe we'll find a couple. They do like to live in the termite mounds, and there are a number of them along this road. We're on a road called Zoe's, which travels sort of through the middle towards sort of the western side of Djuma and a little bit around. So some dwarf mongoose, I'm sure we'll be able to... Ooh, hello, there's a beautiful little Koki Franklin just here next to the car. Hello, beautiful. Isn't that gorgeous? Quite relaxed indeed. Another one of the galliforms, falling into the same sort of order as the Franklin's guinea fowl. And you can see how camouflaged they are. If they don't move, it would be impossible to spot. In the middle of the road though, not so difficult. Isn't that beautiful? Love the coloration. Moving along, looking for all sorts of seeds, and maybe even dig up a few tubers and bulbs and grass roots and even a little bit of vegetation. Very pretty, very nice. Oh, there's a second one. See, when you keep looking, yes, indeed, James. I'll have a little look for the wild dog and the pups. Do you know where they were seen last night, Vian? Okay. I'm not sure where Sydney had them. I'm going to have to inquire about exactly whereabouts they were spotted, but I would love to be able to find you the wild dogs and the pups. I have never live seen wild dog puppies. I've seen documentaries of them, but I've never seen them with my own two eyes. So yes, James, I'll make an effort to see if we can find some of them. That would be very nice. I've been watching the updates of what's been going on while I've been away, and it's incredible. Wild dogs and puppies. Sorry, Nix. Okay. For your tail axis, okay, very good. Well then, we'll do a loop around this way. The wheel tail axis is just that direction, so it's a good chance. I mean, they're not going to stay in one spot, so they've either gone north of where they were last seen or they've come south. So we'll keep checking the roads here, see if we can find any tracks of them moving along. Okay, well, as we keep going along here looking for tracks on the ground, hopefully we'll find some signs of these wild dogs. In the meantime, let's go over to Taylor McCurdy, who is driving.
Well, we have not successfully found any sign at all of any leopards just yet, so we're going to have a bit more of a scratch around, and then we'll probably move out of the area. So last night when I got back to camp, literally as we drove in, we plugged in the cars to charge, switch your lights off, you know, all these amazing things that we do when we power down. We heard leopard sawing. Can you believe it? I don't know who it was, but it came from maybe in Vubu Road, somewhere around there. So there was a cat that was playing games with us, because remember yesterday we drove up and down here about 500 times. We were doing the figure of 8 between Gallego Pan, Boyatela Pan, and as well as down towards Treehouse Dam. And we were not successful, so we're on Gallego shortcut now. We've gone past Gallego Pan. There's no sign of anything. Also, I still haven't seen a footprint. So I think we'll go up Gallego Road and then come back down on Vubu Road and see. It wouldn't surprise me if Tandy's just here, and it's quite a big network of drainage lines. There's a bird that's, oh, there it is. I think it's a white, there's a birdie. Have a look here. Just up top in the tree, there's a bird that's singing a beautiful song. Stunning, isn't it? Is it a white-browed scrobbin'? Is it? No, I don't know. I have to have a look. I haven't seen these little birdies. It's a robin of sorts. I think it's James's favourite one. Is it not? Robin. I always forget. I think it is a white scrub robin. It's got the streaking on the chest. It's got the white supercilium, so that white stripe above the eye. Very pretty. And a fairly yellow beak. And with that call, it's unbelievable. Often the bird that you hear first in the morning, and sometimes the one you hear last before you go to bed. Or if you go to the Mara, who is, well, winning today and have successfully found giraffe.
Well, Taylor, I request you, don't do a lot of birding. Please get for me Hosanna, and I'll be very happy if I hear you have been able to see Hosanna and doing birdings. I hope, Giraffe Girl, you are still watching, and I think I have delivered to you. Giraffe Girl, I hope you're still there, and I believe you have not gone away from your screen, and I have been able to find a giraffe for you, Giraffe Girl. And as Taylor is doing a bit of birding, on the belly of this giraffe, there's a particular bird that's flying or trying to get ticks out of it. Hopefully you're going to see it at one point. But we got the Maasai giraffe. Thank you very much, Giraffe Girl, to hear you are still watching, and you are very welcome. You're very welcome, and hopefully I'll get another one for you. And if you look on the front left of that giraffe, front left leg, at the ankle, below there, that's the bird I'm talking about. And my guess is that is an oxpecker. My guess is that's an oxpecker. And as the name suggests, they always peck on these animals like the giraffes, and they'll get any ticks or mites out of their bodies. And you notice how tall giraffes stand out of all the animals you got in Africa. Giraffes will both browse and graze, and you can see there it's quite a challenge for a rat to bend its long, tall neck to reach some nice, yummy plant she's enjoying there. And I think she is not alone. Most herbivores or giraffes will go in groups. Well done, Manu. Mark, we have once in a while seen or heard cases of albino giraffes. Personally, I have not seen one, but if you go to the northern part of Kenya, there's an area called Laikipia, and they have been able to document some white giraffes or albino giraffes, which we think they have genetically mutated and they have lost their patterns. It's very rare. I would say it could be 1 in 1,000 giraffes, but personally, Mark, I haven't seen one, but we have them. Not only giraffes, even zebras and other herbivores like buffaloes, and they will look all white. And we all think that is something, genetical, and it will be here or it will be seen once in a while. Giraffe Girl and all the other viewers, I'm sure you're happy to see more giraffes there. We've got 4 species of giraffes in Africa, and this particular one here is called the Maasai giraffe. Stormy, you will notice giraffes go in herds. It's very unusual to see 1 or 2 alone, but you might get some, say, a fully grown male with some young males and females moving together. So a herd of 5 to 50 giraffes is very common, especially in the Mara. And giraffes are not very territorial. You'll not have like a particular area you see giraffes. And we say giraffe families have what you'll call home ranges, a huge home range, and you'll see them moving from one area to another. So anything from 5 to 50, it's very possible. And I think the largest herd of giraffes I've seen was about 50. Some of the animals with very long tongues, they need to reach what they need to eat, maybe without getting into their eyes. You see the shape of their heads. So they both browse and graze at the same time, but I would say they're more of browsers than grazers. And if you see them, kneeling or bending down, not because they are eating grass, but small little plants. Blink, how is Canada? And giraffes, they're huge animals, and it's interesting because there's some of the animals that have one of the longest gestation periods, not like the elephants though, but giraffes have a gestation period of 14.5 months. 14.5 months. You'd imagine carrying a baby for 14.5 months. That's the gestation period of giraffes. And as I said, we've got 4 species, but apparently, apart from the patterns on their bodies, any other behavior, morphology is the same. Gestation period, lifespan is basically the same. Even the other species that we're not seeing here, that like the Rothschild giraffe, the reticulated giraffe, all of them have a gestation period of 14.5 months. That to me looks like a young boy. You can see he got flat oscars on top. Once in a while they'll be known to use them to go for each other. And you can just see him, he is enjoying browsing those leaves. And I think those bushes could be the orange crotons, orange leafed crotons. And I hope, Giraffe Girl, you are happy. I got 2 assignments to get some Jaco pups and some lion cubs. Hopefully I'll deliver to Mark. I can't remember who was the other viewer. And in the meantime, I think Steve is enjoying driving around as I go look for those youngsters.
Yes, indeed we are, David. Well done on finding the giraffe. Good luck on the rest of your search. We have found some beautiful birds, a little cooperative breeding species, the white-crested helmet shrike. There were a few of them. They've all decided to move on. And they are. They respond quite nicely, in fact, to a call. And those of you who've ever watched the Star Wars movies or remember the lasers when the people are fighting with the laser guns, it sounds quite similar to that. So I'm going to play it for you, and there's a good chance they might come a little bit closer and say hello. And it's not the breeding season, so it's not unethical to play it now. So have a little listen. It'll come through on my microphone. hear that. It sounds just like lasers, I think anyway. And sometimes they get quite inquisitive and they come and have a look. Well, they're not too interested at the moment. It's possible that we're on a little bit of a boundary right now. Let me show you their picture. They are a very pretty bird. If you've never seen them before, I'll put it on the front of the dashboard here. There is a beautiful white crested helmet shrike. Mikey, Birds in the Morning, is a beautiful chorus, and isn't that such a gorgeous bird? Now, they're a cooperative breeder, and they live in a community where the alpha pair will breed and the rest of them will assist in the breeding. They won't do any of the breeding themselves. And a lot of people wonder, what is the purpose of being cooperative? And essentially it means there's more mouths to assist, or more hand, so to speak, to assist in feeding the youngsters and also defending territory, which encompasses the food resource. So yes, it's possible that a breeding pair, maybe a monogamous pair elsewhere, might breed a bit more successfully than the helmet shrikes or than these cooperative breeders. But what happens if you're a monogamous pair, for example, a pair of yellow-fronted canaries or something like that? If one of the partners passes away, the female male who has not passed away will probably take quite a while to sort of re-date and go on dates and whatever to find the new mate so as to continue breeding for the season. Whereas we'll have to continue my story shortly. It appears that we are losing signal, but in the meantime, while we try and fix those problems, let's go back over to Taylor.
The pesky gremlins where the dogs were. So it seems as though the herd of buffalo have crossed into Buffalo's Hook, and then I've also got male leopard tracks. So I've got some old ones here that go straight into Buffalo's Hook as well, and then I had another set that were a lot more fresh up near the Buffalo's Hook signs, also crossing into Buffalo's Hook. So the shape and size of the track looks like, I think it's the same cat that's just walking around. So perhaps Tingana made his way into this area and was just going up and down, just re-establishing his territory. He hasn't really spent too much time down here at all. Well, not from what I can remember. It's been a while, so maybe it's good that he comes back this way. I'm just checking my Game Drive radios down. There we go. Just turn it up a little bit, just in case anybody starts their safari and finds anything interesting. And then no lion tracks trailing the buffalo tracks yet. I'm sure they'll be back this afternoon for a drink of water at Vuurtelapan. And no leopard tracks crossing back in. I don't know if I should go down this road now. Chris. Okay, just because you asked for it. I have to search for the image very quickly, but it'll take me 2 seconds. So, the other day, there wasn't much on safari, so I thought I'd just entertain you with my dazzling personality. And I think it was Jess M that created it, and I'd said, oh, imagine if I was a terrapin, a tailorpin. So this is what came of it. I mean, how ridiculous is that? You might be able to find it on Twitter if you want to look at the image. I mean, it is bizarre. My profile picture on Facebook or something like that. It's pretty good. Very, very good. Very creative minds, which is wonderful. Tailorpin. I mean, we are ridiculous. Everyone. The fact that you could even come up with something like that. But Jess, I think it was Jess M. I've forgotten what your Twitter handle is. Sorry, it's Coyote something. But yes, that's bizarre. Oh, you can get creative. You can do that with any animal. What could Steve be? Senzo, what do you think Steve could be? What could we put him on? A crab. Please, can somebody put Steve's head on a crab that's doing this? And maybe it can be moving as well, doing a little a little motion like that. I can't do anything like that. I'm absolutely hopeless when it comes to technology. I just know how to turn a computer on and off, and then that's literally the extent of my capabilities. Excuse me, Impala coming through. I'm also gonna have to take my jacket off. I mean, that didn't last very long. It's warm again. Today is supposed to reach 40. I saw between 2 and 3 p.m. it's going to be 40 degrees Celsius. So what's that, like 110? Maybe 110, 108 Fahrenheit. I'm not actually sure what it is, but somewhere around there. Hot, 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 hot. Also, if you do post a picture of Steve as a crab, please hashtag SafariLive. Share it. Let the world see. Yes, Glenn, you could also put Steve on a dung beetle, that's for sure. I mean, you can go wild, you can get creative, you can put, like I said, you can do any animals. Oh my goodness, Chitty Chatty Meg, yes, a sloth. Someone, do something, please. Let's create some laughter. I think it's important for me, I haven't need to laugh. I just laughed for the first time this morning. It's taken me a while today, but I'm awake now. So keep them coming through, because I could use a good giggling. That'd be great. And hopefully you'll all laugh as well. Okay, so I'm just obviously scanning as we're looking, because just making sure I don't miss anything. Steveopotamus. Goodness, okay. Yeah, go for it. Go wild. And speaking of Steveopotamus, let's go back to him and see if he's got rid of the gremlins.
Yes, well, I'm not 100% sure what Taylor's talking about me being a crab, but I thought now it was a good chance, while we look at a bird on the ground over there, to talk once again about the monogamous versus cooperative breeding in birds. There we've got a Burchell starling, which is also a monogamous species. So this individual, for example, will find a mate. They'll find the perfect hole in a tree for nesting, and then it'll just be the pair of them that will breed, producing 2 to 3 chicks in their clutch. And if seasons are good, it's possible that they can breed more than once. But cooperative breeders will do 3 to 4 eggs between the group of 5 to 6 of them. And only those chicks will be reared. There'll be no more chicks reared. And so you wonder who's the more successful out of the group. And essentially what happens there is that if a female or male, as I said before, this starling passes away, well, the partner will take an extremely long time to find another mate suitable for the challenge of rearing and looking after chicks, or even just the process of mating. So that is a very delayed process. Whereas with the cooperative breeders, they essentially know each other. You know, they're just part of a family, not related so much, but they already know each other. So they're past the first date stage, so that immediately a pair can pair off again and they can continue the breeding. So that's a very important element with regards to cooperative breeding. Not only is it more hands or whatever to feed the chicks and to defend, but the breeding can actually be increased due to any environmental or tragic failure on the part of one of the breeding pairs. So they definitely have their advantages, both sides of the story, and they've both filled their own niche in the environment out here, which is very good. And those starlings are walking around on the ground feeding on some termites. Wow, Buck, you want to know how many species of birds? Well, there's about 960 in South Africa alone. So the rest of the world, sure, there's plenty. There's in the 15,000, I'd probably assume, probably about that many species in the world, but there I'm just thumb-sucking. There are a lot of birds. I mean, I know Australia's got 1,300, we've got 900, Kenya's got 1,200, so just the list goes on and on. So it's probably more than 15,000. I honestly don't know. I wonder if any of you out there knows how many true species of bird are there out there. I think it's possible that they are still finding new species in and around. Some species that are quite isolated in pockets in places that haven't quite been explored. Maybe deep in the rainforests, for example. But a good question. Birds of paradise in Madagascar, lots and lots of species. And what's interesting, when you go into a rainforest, you get that stratification. So a layered stratification from the top to the ground. You'll have different species of birds that actually utilize different levels within the tree canopy. Some of those birds never even coming below a certain level. Some of them staying on the ground and some never leaving the canopy. So very, very interesting how these dynamics have worked, and through evolution, those sort of partitions, those different shelves, if you will, have been created. And talking about those kind of things, you see the Rhesus helmet shrike as well as the white-crested. So I was just, before I continue there, Pride Mama wants to know my favorite bird and favorite bird call. Well, this is a question I get all the time, Proud Cat Mama, and I find it really hard. The gorgeous bushshrike is one of those very special birds to see. Narina trogon, also a very, very special bird to see. But my favorite bird of all time, I don't know, it might sound a bit strange. It's not the, I'll get it for you quickly on my phone. It is not the most elaborate bird. What's it called again? Oh. This is my favorite bird right over here, which we find here, quite commonly found over here. Just get you the nice picture. There we go, the green-winged Piatilia. It's a little finch-like bird. It's the size of a waxbill, and I'll play the call for you. It's nothing much to really go by on a call. It's not my favorite call. Now, I could not mimic that. That sounds like a computer program. Always flitting around flocks on the ground. Gorgeous bushshrike. No, definitely not the hardy-dar, Nikki. Definitely not the hardy-dar ibis. They are, yeah, definitely not my favorite. So, I'm still looking for tracks. We're coming around towards Vuitele access, where apparently the dogs were last seen last night. No sign so far. We do know that they like to traverse along the roads. It is much easier for them to move along when they move at their speed. But also they seem to go through the bushes as quickly as they do on the road. So, but they will often run along the road. And I saw some of the tracks yesterday up on the northern boundary. Some of the youngster tracks was so nice to see. I've never seen baby wild dog tracks before, apart from yesterday. Okay, well, we're going to continue on around the corner here, see if we can find any tracks. And while we do that, in the meantime, we're going to go all the way back up to the Masamara with David Gitu, who I believe has been successful on his search.
Pride, it's very close to an area we call the marsh area, and I'm trying to establish whether this is the marsh pride. Apologies, sometimes you'll always get gremlins. Every now and then you realize how technology works, but I'm trying to establish what pride of lions this is. We're very close to an area we call marsh area, and it could either be the marsh pride, but also there's another pride called the Olololo pride that comes this far. My guess for now, this could be the marsh pride, and I'll be able maybe to double confirm that, but they're quite a distance from where I am. So a bit difficult to establish who exactly this pride is. Playing in that little termite mite or bush, we have about 4 of them that were chasing each other there. And that's the marsh in the background that I'm talking about, or that green area you see, that remains green all round there. Apart from the lions that you see, it's also very popular with elephants, because definitely any marsh area will have lots of water in it. So these are 2 youngsters, I would say sub-adults. And I'm not sure it was Mark who was talking of baby cubs. These are not very young ones. I would have wanted them for Mark. I can't remember the name of the viewer. But at one point, hopefully, we shall see the youngsters or the cubs of this pride come out. So that one is licking itself. Not sure they had a kill or they have a kill where they are, but more often than not, when you see cats like lions licking themselves, they'll be cleaning themselves either from blood or a kill they might have had. Very good camera work, Manu, there. So lots of young ones there that are chasing each other, and see how playful they are. And I think there's a hyena, 2, not 1, in the background there. And I'm more convinced than before there must be a kill in this area. Oh yes, yes, yes. If you look carefully, not very clear there. There is some kill of a kind. Sorry, Nikki, I lost you there. Very good. And yes, now we got 3 hyenas moving away, and definitely that tells there was a kill at that area. So either the hyenas did not get a chance to eat it, and I'm sure man will go back to that kill and we'll try and find out what it is. It doesn't look very clear from where we are, but if you look carefully, it's a kill of some sort. It could be a zebra, it could have been a wildebeest, it could have been a buffalo, because the marsh pride have been known to bring down buffaloes. It's a huge pride. So hyenas just walked away, and I think now this is the 7th hyena we are seeing. The 8th one, and they're heading away from the kill, and I got a feeling they didn't get a chance to get anywhere close to that kill. Jurasco, this hyena clan here, I wouldn't say for a fact which one it is, because we are very far from the North clan and from the Happy Zebra clan and the Southern clan, and I would say this clan hangs around the marsh area. We haven't been following it a lot like the North clan, like Jamie Patterson has been doing, so I wouldn't say for a fact what clan this or whether it has a name, but I can tell you for a fact it is not the North clan. But hyenas, once they pick a kill from wherever, they'll always get close. And they're definitely walking away from the kill, which means they didn't either get a chance to eat it, or hopefully when the lions will leave the kill, they'll try and come closer and enjoy the bones or whatever the lions will leave. So you can see one laying down there. You can see that's the belly of one, just breathing there. And that's the kill at that particular point. We'll try and get my far lookers and try and establish what it could be. One of the youngsters, they are moving. I'm sure they are so happy now having eaten and knowing the hyenas are going away. And what a clever location they got to put that kill there. It's not too hot at the moment. Oops. Very energetic young ones. Bellies very full. I don't know how many pounds of flesh they got. And truly, yeah, Nikki, this is pretty awesome. Wonderful weather, great camera work from Manu. And I guess that's a boy, that's a young Sabarot male. You can tell from below the tail.
Sorry about that, everybody. A day filled with apologies. Right, I've just picked up on Tandy and Tlalamba's tracks, which is wonderful. You probably won't find them though, because they like to hide away from me. But they've been going up and down here last night. There's also a hyena lingering around, so I think I'm going to quickly go on to Vulture's Nest, and then go on Inyala Road South and drive the whole way up. The tracks are going up and down here. Just want to quickly check. I didn't really get out to see where they went off. I don't particularly like trying to track Tandy. I think she's a very, very difficult leopard to follow because she zigzags, she does loops, she serpentines and figures of 8, but she does them backwards. So it's quite tricky, but we'll just check some of her favorite spots. Oh my goodness, actually I'm sure there's lots of animals that have a similar gestation period too. Us as humans now, I must just try and think of some of them. My worst thing is that I know them all in days. Okay, let's see, who's close to 9 months? Probably, no, giraffe is a lot more than that. What about a hippo or a buffalo, something like that? I'm sure they're around there, 8.5, 9 months, something along those lines. So there'll be quite a few of them. I think that's quite a common gestation period to have that sort of time. Even Dacre have a very long gestation period for how small they are. I think it's about like 6 months or so, 6 or 7 months, which is pretty cool. Where are these animals this morning? They just love to hide from us, and there's no one else driving around, which is awesome. Like, it's really nice. We pretty much have the whole reserve just to Steve and I. No one else seems to be out this morning. We'll just keep having a little scratch around here. Where are you? No, Linda, today I've decided I'm going to follow old tracks. Of course they're fresh tracks, 100% fresh tracks. Otherwise I would not be even saying anything about them if they were not fresh tracks. I'm only interested in following, well, like I said, I'm not really going to follow Tandy's tracks because I'll end up out of the car for the entire show trying to follow her route. So we're just going to have a quick scratch, and if we don't see her, we don't see her. We'll move on to somewhere else. Doesn't seem like Steve is having any luck either. I don't know if he's picked up on any sign of those wild dogs, but it wouldn't surprise me if the wild dogs have moved on. So we'll just keep trying. What did you say? I didn't hear you. An owl. Did you see one really? Oh, there. A little one. We saw a Varro's eagle owl last night as well. Is that an... It's not an owl. Was it an owl? That has a long... What one is it? There it is. Might be a little... Is it not a little raptor? Oh, I think it might be a little shikra or a lizard buzzard or something. Let's see if you can see it. It's hard now because it's silhouetted against the sun. But that always helps. That makes it virtually impossible. I'm looking with my binoculars. I cannot tell you what color that bird is. I have absolutely no idea. I'm going to assume and go with grey. Well spotted. So not a little owl, but a little raptor of sorts. Either a little lizard buzzard or a shikra, but it's a bit difficult to tell with it silhouetted like that against the sun. Maybe some of you can do that. That'd be like a level 3 bird question. They'd be like, what raptor is that? And then it's just a silhouette, and you're like, oh, panic, size, shape of the beak. Maybe you'd be lucky, and then you could see the color slightly to give you a helping hand. But they do like to give those questions every now and then. Well spotted, Senzo. Okay, I'm gonna go up in Yallored south now. But the trucks are going the opposite direction. So I don't know. I don't know where the animals will be. Just check cap. No, lots of impala walking around here too, which doesn't surprise me. There are lots of impala around just in general. Yeah. Right. It seems as though those hyenas in the Mara are creeping closer to the pride of lions. I wonder if the subadults will be brave enough to chase them away.
All right, good luck, Taylor. And we are having an interesting scenario here. We have stuck where we were on the kill, and we have established that the kill is a wildebeest. We have established that that kill is a wildebeest. We took our far lookers and looked very closely and have been able to know 100% these lions brought down a wildebeest. And look at the hyenas, how they are spread out here. And it seems they have changed direction. Initially, they seem to be going away from the kill, but now they have stopped, and there's a bit of standoff between them and the lions. So look at those two, and look at that one lioness facing them. And as usual, it's always a game of numbers. Now we have a jackal coming in play, and it's black-backed jackal. And I think the jackal is going in the wrong direction. But we have found out, depending on where the kill was done, if the kill was done elsewhere and dragged there and bits of it was eaten, the jackals will always go and pick small pieces that could have dropped on the way before the lions took the kill to where they wanted. What these hyenas need to do, they could intimidate this pride of lions and they would comfortably steal the kill. Come on, jackal, you need to get another jackal, a few more hyenas, and you go towards the lions and you might have a chance to get part of this food. And oh, that's the beautiful marsh pride area. I mean the marsh pride, or rather the marsh area. Hyenas now not sure what to do. Some are leaving, some are still standing there. I do not know why she has to run to go away. You can still walk away, but they have known once in a while, well, is she coming towards the kill? Let's see. We have no lions coming in force estrus once in a while if they need to protect their cubs. Yes, that's possible, and lions or the lionesses have done it many times. They'll always need to protect their cubs, especially if, for example, a new male may want to take over this pride. You know, we have a coalition of male here that we call the triangle boys or the musketeers. Should a different, say, male from another area want to come and take over, they will tend to kill the cubs that they find in the pride. And the lionesses are very smart, and they'll have sometimes forces trust and encourage, you know, the males to mate to make sure they protect their own cubs. So hyena going towards the lions, but you notice they're keeping quite a good distance away from the lions. Stop, look, but that one lioness is looking at the hyena. Don't try to play any games. So going in different directions, I think they are not decided how to approach this kill. But I would say what I've seen out here, they need to build the numbers to try and intimidate the lions to move away from the kill. But the marsh pride is huge. It's over 10 while together, just like the Olololo pride. And the hyenas know it's not easy just to walk in here and get the kill. So one of the lioness, you can see there, she's just flat, asleep. Frances, I would say one lioness, if it's a female, can handle, I would say, maximum 2 hyenas. Hyenas are equally tough. I mean, they're predators and I've known them to be very strong. So maybe on 1-to-1, chances are a lioness may win. But 2 and 3 hyenas, I don't think a lioness would stand a chance. But the big boys, like the triangle males, you know, those ones can comfortably, I think, handle 3 full hyenas. They'll always come and intimidate the lions by opening their mouth and showing, you know, their big teeth. We have seen many times, you know, lions making a kill and hyenas will come and call each other. And the moment the number gets to 8 going towards 10, that is a very strong team for the lions. And the lions have always stepped aside. And before that happens, not once you have seen lions sharing their meal with hyenas until maybe they are outnumbered and pushed out. But I don't think the marsh pride is ready to leave their kill. And I would guess maybe the kill was done at night. Nikki, did she ask whether lions or hyenas mourn? Stormy, I highly doubt most predators will mourn. Not hyenas, not lions. The only animals I've seen out here mourning would be elephants. And you can tell from the behavior, should they lose one of their own, how they congregate together or how they tend to meditate. But like you see that youngster walking away from the kill, I do not think, Stormy, lions or predators do mourn. I've never seen them showing any sign of, I would say, being emotional, having lost maybe one of their own. We have seen once, Naholele was talking before, if a new male takes over pride and he is determined to have his own genes in the pride and he kills the cubs in that particular pride, I've never seen females being emotional about that. So I wouldn't say I have known of either lions or hyenas that are mournful when maybe they lose one of their own. But I would say a classical example of animals that mourn out here are elephants. So we want to wait here and see whether the hyenas will get close to the kill, but in the meantime, just in case they don't do that, I won't go look for the jackals. I had promised the giraffe. We did that. We have found some youngsters of lions, not very small cubs as I would have expected, but maybe it's time to go look for some jackal babies. But let's find out what Steve Ovo is up to.
Thanks, David. You're just taking one at a time off of the list. Congratulations. Well, we have had some success this side, not with regards to any animal, but with regards to the fact that Alex, our technician genius, has managed to come out and provide me with a new earpiece, and I can now hear everything that's going on, which is an absolute win for the morning. I thought it was my ear, but it turns out it was the technology. So thanks, Alex. I appreciate it. I now don't have to have Nikki on full blast in my ear just to hear her speak. And we have found the area just back here where all of the wild dogs and their wild dog pups were. We found the tracks, but bearing in mind that was last night, so where they are now is hard to say, but kind of got the general idea that they moved sort of east, northeast into this block here. So we're just going to do a little bit of a loop around. It's quite nice with all of the pups because you can see lots of tracks. There's lots of tracks there. A couple of adults, lots of youngsters. A little bit easier to track, I suppose, than just the adults who are constantly on the move. Back there, lots of areas where moving and lying down, moving and lying down. So quite characteristic of the pups who don't quite have the same stamina as the adults, although they will be getting there soon. So we need to make our best. Ooh, look what we've got just here, V. Can you see the woodpecker? Just behind. Oh! There he is. Got it. Beautiful woodpecker there, talking about specialized feeding. I think he's up a little bit. There he is. There she is, should I say. I wonder how many of you out there can tell me which individual this is. Oh! There's a female woodpecker. Send your questions, your answers to hashtag SafariLive if you got a little glimpse of that, but it is indeed a woodpecker. Black on the head, black over here. If you didn't get a good look at it, well, we'll come back to it. See if any of you, with that quick little glimpse, were able to identify which species. Fern, you want to know about birds interbreeding? Well, Darwin did a lot of tests on the Galapagos Islands with what's known as the Darwin finches, and what they saw there was changes in the species. So definitely some form of interbreeding that happened between the species, but the species was so similar because they've evolved on that island, but what was in their size of their beak and the way they used their beak. So in times of really extreme drought conditions, the specialists did very well. So you got this sort of two sides of the small beak and then the very strong beak for breaking the seeds, and then times of good you got all the species across the board. So it's very interesting. I mean, birds crossbred for a very long time. They're all kind of interbred with each other, and that's what's created this plethora of bird species have. But when it comes now to a lot of the species that we have in and around, no, I don't think that they can interbreed unless they are very similarly related. I think a lot of the cues that they have, the dances, the mating displays, all of these things are a way of them to identify their own species, because that is in their best interest to mate with their own species. So comes to crossbreeding, I don't think naturally it's occurring too much now in native areas, but in an area like the Galapagos where they are seeing evolution taking place in today's time, you're seeing the change in the species, which I suppose is crossbreeding. So they saw a lot of crossbreeding in the Galapagos. So from that point of view, it's very possible that birds across the world could be breeding. Oh, here we got those tracks again. These are from yesterday. Yes, go ahead with the answers there, Nix. Futa, you did very well in your answer there. Let's see if anybody else got an answer for me as well. There's no crowned woodpecker here in South Africa that I am aware of. Is a very good answer. It's very similar. Could almost be golden-tailed. I don't think it was, unless someone took a screenshot and can confirm it for me. We're going to quickly have a look at the cardinal woodpecker, and what's very easy to see. There's no. Very strong black stripe. Mafuta got it right the first time, 100%. Very dark black stripe over here, and the black all the way down the back of the crown, which makes it very easy to identify. The female golden-tailed has got a bit of red on the back of the head. The bearded is the only one with a fully black head amongst the bigger ones, and the cardinal is just very small. There's also a slight little bit of red in the back of the crown. So I hope that answers the questions. Always nice to see these animals doing what they're doing, and I think we might go down here. There's no sign of those wild dogs coming through, so let's go down onto Gallagher here. A huge amount of buffalo activity, looks like from yesterday though. See if we can maybe pick up on any tracks of the wild dogs on top of these buffalo tracks. It's interesting, you often see an enormous amount of buffalo as they move, and something that I remember reading lots of stories about the bush wars in Zimbabwe, or what was formerly known as Rhodesia, and there was lots of also it was a huge war politically across the world. Basically the face of communism versus the face of imperialism, democracy, and you had Russia backing one side and well, no one really backing the other side. It was a very politically interesting war. But anyway, the terrorists, so to speak, the Bush veterans at the time who were trying to escape the army, they would quite often have obviously they'd know the locals, and we know how we spend a lot of time out here tracking. So when it comes to warfare, bush warfare, the people in bush warfare got very good at tracking, human tracking. And so they integrated themselves with the locals. They would be fed by them, they'd be looked after by them, because they were trying to fight for the freedom of those people. And so when they moved, obviously the army would try and track them down, but you get herd boys who just send an entire herd of cattle in the same direction that the terrorists had walked, and impossible to track people over an area that a herd of buffalo or a herd of cattle have walked. But if they walk after, it's not too difficult. But quite interesting how animals were used as a sort of a camouflage for tracks. Mikey, it's a good question. Ostriches, possibly. I mean, they're related to, they are a bird, so they might have evolved from one of the first flightless birds, but, oh, yes! VM is spotted. Okay, we get back to your ostrich question. Woo! We found something very special this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me while I just drive a little bit quicker. What could it be, James? James, what could it be? Well, our tracking this morning has paid off. Our diligence, our earpiece is working, and we have indeed found wild dogs. Well done, VM, for spotting. I can see two. There's more over here. Okay, there's the pups. Here's two of the adults. Where do you want me, V? Tell me when. Yay! Well done, well done. There we go. We have got the wild dogs. We just get the camera in the right position. I'll be with you in a moment. Here we've got one of the adults. I think it's an adult, yep. Well, hooray, oh hooray, this is very special. Day 2 back, and we get wild dogs. Fantastic. Oh, those puppies are so cute. Puppies are very, very cute. They're so little. They're just mini versions. I was told that they didn't quite have the same colours as the adults, but they do. They seem to have. It's possible they killed something there. What do you reckon, V? What are they doing? Their behaviour is indicating that they've probably got something over there. Yeah. Ah, thank you, everybody. You're rejoicing and saying the wild dogs are welcoming me back. Well, indeed. Yes, they are. They've got something there. I'm not sure what it is. There's a very good chance most of it is completely gone. Beautiful light indeed for the wild dogs, and we've got a little bit of play happening over here, a little bit of dominance between these two males, and we're doing a little bit of argy-bargy. Typical dog fashion, isn't it? Boys will be boys. Oh, and always jumping on the third one. Shame. Leave her be. This is fantastic. I'm just going to call it in on the radio quickly in case anybody would like to join us with the wild dogs. If you give me a moment. The station's relocated on the Madaj or Gallagher shortcut. One station unlock. Madaj is the local name for wild dogs. So the wild dogs, they don't seem to have any danger towards people. They will see you and they'll move away. Kind of like a cheetah, evolutionary term, we're bigger and stronger than them. They don't see any benefit in trying to attack us. And they're not agnostic towards us either. They'll see us and just move off. There's kind of like a mutual respect, but from the pecking order, humans are stronger and more violent, I would say, than wild dogs, and they know that through their evolutionary history. I've never had any fear of wild dog on foot. I remember watching that amazing clip of James on foot, and I think a vehicle following the wild dogs, and James, and I think it was Connor. I don't know who it was. Who was it? It might have been someone. They were snuck up against the side of the road, and the wild dogs were coming straight towards him. It was Andrew, and James's face was such a picture. There was no fear in his face. It was just absolute excitement, like a little boy seeing candy for the first time. Okay, well, it seems like the action is increasing this morning, and I know we're with wild dogs, but it looks like Taylor's found some spots.
Goodness, it's taken us a while though, but it's all thanks to some vervet monkeys alarming and then go away birds. Now, I think it is Hosanna. There we go. What is it? He's going after something. Oh, he's going after banded mongoose. Hang on, he's chasing one. Oh, there he comes around again, sorry. He's chasing a whole colony of banded mongoose. And they obviously tried to escape down into the termite mound. Does he have one? I think he's got one. Sensor, hold on. I think he's actually got one. Trying to find a gap. Sorry, it's through all the trees. No, he doesn't. He's going again. So they're desperately trying to get away. Can you hear it? See how he's flinching every single time that mongoose makes that really loud noise? There's one that's not particularly impressed. You can hear it. How crazy is that sound? Now that mongoose is trying to hide away, and it's underneath the log. I can just see it, the silhouette of it moving around every now and then. So the rest of the colony has managed to escape, because they do live in groups. Let's see if he's going to... Still there. He doesn't know what to do. Senzo, I'm trying to think of the best position for you. Let me quickly... stand by, Nikki. Let me just quickly get a better position, because this is not particularly very nice. Please wait. We can't see anything that's going on. It's a really horrible visual, so I don't know if it's greatest idea just yet. Well, there goes the mongoose again. I think it's going to be virtually impossible to get a proper view. I'm so sorry, everybody, but that's just one of the things. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Sabi Sand on this live safari. We have got a young male leopard by the name of Hosanna, who seems to have caused all sorts of trouble this morning as he is chasing around a mongoose. You might be able to hear the mongoose fighting back. Now, oh no, he's got himself caught in some thorns and branches now, but he doesn't seem to care. He's obviously hungry. Now, there were a whole lot more mongoose, but they've run off. And there's one that's just trapped and going up and down and desperately trying to make a lot of noise to intimidate this young male leopard. But unfortunately, sorry, we haven't got the greatest view of this cat. As you can see, there's lots and lots of vegetation all around, but it is very unhappy. One of the bigger mongoose species that we see, we actually don't see banded mongoose very often out here. We've only seen them twice, in fact, in the northern Sabi Sand. Yep, Randy, you guessed correctly. I just mentioned that this is the young male Hosanna, who is a leopard that should have dispersed from this area, but has decided that he quite likes it around here and is going to stay put. So I don't know how long this battle is going to go on for, but he's definitely going to try his best to catch that mongoose, but it's not going to be much of a meal for him. It's only going to be a snack. Yep, Lisa, he most certainly is hungry. The fact that he's putting in so much effort to go after such a small meal suggests that he is slightly desperate. But when I saw him out in the open, he doesn't look thin. Hosanna also just likes to eat everything and anything. And because he is fairly young, I think anything that moves and that hangs around and doesn't get away quick enough, he does put a bit of an attempt to try and catch it. But I've never heard a mongoose make those noises before. That's incredible. I'd be too scared to grab it. And that's exactly what that mongoose is trying to do. It's hissing and making all sorts of crazy sounds. But it's not just me out in on the safari, sorry. There's all sorts of action happening. We've got leopard hunting here. And Steve has got one of the most endangered carnivores in Africa.
Look at that. Good afternoon or good morning. We have got the wild dogs with their 6 little puppies. There are 4 adults here, 3 males. and one female. Hello, my name is Steve, joined by VM on camera, and we are so fortunate to be able to find and spend some time with these wild dogs. Here they are, just in front of us. The puppies are coming out into the open. You can see the youngsters are there. They've got a steenbok that they have killed at some stage. Two males on the right that are displaying a little bit of dominance, and they killed the steenbok we don't know how long ago, but the youngsters are still busy playing with the head. This is so special to be able to spend time with these. It's my first time seeing these puppies, and they are gracing us with their presence here on Djuma. We are not very far away from camp at all. We found their tracks, spent a little bit of time tracking them, and VM the wildebeest on the back of the car managed to spot them in the open here on the termite mound. And because they're with puppies, they're not moving very quickly, which is invariably what happens when you find wild dogs. You basically spend an enormous amount of time racing around trying to keep up with them. The adults seem to be moving off again. I'm not sure what it is that they are doing. The youngsters might be moving across, but here they are in the open. But while we stay with these wild dogs, let's go back over to the action of that leopard.
There's no more action, unfortunately. Hosana has grown tired of the mongoose antics, and well done to the mongoose as it successfully managed to escape a death today. How incredible was that? Wasn't that just amazing? Pretty awesome, hey? But off he goes down the road now into an area where we're probably going to lose signal. Right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. That was absolutely spectacular to have so many different aspects on the safari, wild dogs and leopards. But please be sure to continue watching us, because the safari doesn't end just yet. So go on to Google, type in SafariLive. The best way to watch it is on YouTube. But from all of us here, we'll see you soon. How cool is this, everybody? I mean, it wasn't the greatest view, unfortunately, but that mongoose is definitely going to have some serious stories to tell. I'm sure you all agree with that. Off he goes. So this is the fellow that's been causing nonsense. So he must have popped into Buffelshoek last night, did a little bit of a loop, and now he's back this side. I actually got to Buffelshoek Dam and I heard a vervet monkey alarming and looked back southwest into the drainage line, and yeah, tried to get in, jumped off the car, couldn't see what they were alarming at, and then I heard some squirrels and go away birds a little bit further down the road. We've actually just come up here, so obviously as we were coming up along this road to Buffelshoek Dam, Hosana was walking through the drainage line, which you can't see from the road, and then yeah, it all kind of worked out perfectly, so that's good. Now he's just scent marking. Hello, big boy. Maybe he heard Tingana sawing last night and thought he'd go say hello to Dad. Also hear some hyenas calling in the distance. That's what he's listening to. Don't think you can hear the hyenas, but that's what Hosana stopped to listen to. I'm sure he can understand the difference between the hyena calls too, whether it means I have food, or if it's a male hyena going, I'm lonely, someone pay me attention, or whatever else hyenas say. Now he's just sitting on the road, just enjoying himself. I'm gonna have to put some sunscreen on now. You won't believe it. It's going to get really hot. I might even catch a tan this morning, which is good news. Also hear a black-headed oriole calling in just the distance, which is such a lovely sound. I can still hear go-away birds alarming, though, quite far away. I have absolutely no idea in terms of size comparison between Hosana and Tingana. I've never seen them, well, I haven't seen them together recently, and even when I have seen them together, Tingana had been laying flat down on the ground, so it's very difficult to say. Maybe your best option is checking out some of the screenshots from all the other viewers that have watched interactions on the dam cam. But Tingana is much, much larger than Hosana. Hosana's still got a whole lot of growing to do. Remember, he's only about 2 years and 8 months, or just shy of that. So he is still very, very young. When he gets to about 4.5 years old, that'll sort of be a true indication of how big he will be. And you'll probably find that even after that, even after 4.5, 5 years old, he'll still fill out a little bit more. I feel like Tingana has definitely, we joke and we say it's belly strength, so like older man strength that Tingana has, and he looks like he's even got slightly bigger, not taller or anything, but bulkier since I first saw him, and his dewlap has definitely grown a substantial amount. So it's quite interesting to see that Hosana has got, or is already starting to show a dewlap. So that's that flap of skin under his chin, really, on his neck. You can't see it now. So I think he's going to be a big cat. He's got great genetics, though. I mean, if we look at his brothers, if we look at the size of Quarantine is an absolute bus. So I don't think that Hosana will be too far off of it. Bless you, Senzo, you can sneeze out loud. See, there's more go-away birds alarming. I think Tundi's around here too. The fact that there's other go-away birds alarming just ahead of us, kind of in the direction that Hosana is looking in now. That's where I had her tracks, her and Tlalamba's tracks going up and down central. So I think maybe, it wouldn't surprise me. That mongoose is making a whole lot of noise. So Tundi might be coming into the area to investigate all those sounds. So I'm going to try and go around Hosana and see if we can just have a quick look. Right, off you go back to Steve. I think he's still with the dogs, or have they given him the slip?
Yes, well, we're trying to keep up with them. They moved just into the block here. We're going to see if we can get in there. They look like they've stopped. Decided to take a little bit of a dog nap after their Steenbok meal. We thought initially they were moving off to maybe hunt again. They just picked up some speed and off they went, but they didn't get very far. Hold on there, V. We're joined by another vehicle in the sighting, so they've come in just up ahead of us here. I think he can see one of the dogs. We could only see one of them from the road. They were coming across towards us there. Did a little bit of a cursory look off of one of the termite mounds and then decided to. There we go, I can see one now. There's one on top of the termite mound still. It's quite a nice shot. There we go. They're all on the side of the mound. I'm just going to stop there for the moment, V. Oh, wow. Penny pie, I have no idea how much they weigh. Obviously, they'd be quite small when they're born. These guys are probably about 6 months old at the moment. I don't know. I really don't know the weight. I mean, a wild dog can get up to about 20-odd kilograms. So the youngster there, probably about a third of the weight at the moment. That's an assumption from my side. I'm just going to give them a moment. We had a vehicle move in there, so before I go any closer, let's just let them all get nice and relaxed. Bear in mind, animals that are habituated can be relaxed to a vehicle, but the youngsters might not be so used to seeing a car. Susie, the survival lodge, well, there's 6 of them. I think there's quite a good chance. There's 4 adults. They're quite good at providing the food. So as long as the youngsters keep their heads about them, their wits about them, I think they've got a very good chance. But wild dogs invariably, are prone to predation from leopard, from lion, And this is quite a crucial age as well. They've moved away from the den now and they're following the adults, so they need to be able to keep up. So the statistics, I reckon at least 80% of them should survive. It's possible that 2 of them might not, but that is just a guess right now. Really depends on the situation, the circumstances. Do they encounter lions? Do they keep away from lions? Because that is kind of the crucial aspect. If a lion happened to get close to these dogs, they would have to move away. Here comes a very inquisitive youngster. You see, when I talk about habituation, this is how they get habituated. The adults clearly are not perturbed by the vehicle. So the inquisitiveness of the youngster then is like, okay, well, there's this weird smelling thing over here that Mum is not too bothered about. Let me go a little bit closer and investigate. And it's just all ears, isn't it? It's all ears. It's just amazing that they're at that exact stage, so 6-month stage, they've just turned to adult sort of, what's the word? It's not plumage, well, that would be a bird, but to the adult colours. Normally, when they're youngsters, they've just got the white on the tip of the tail, the black nose, and the rest of the body is quite dark. A lot of that would obviously help in thermoregulation. And dark fur keeps you nice and warm. Okay, V, I think they're nice and relaxed. I'm going to move in a bit closer. What do you reckon? Okay, well, we're going to just jump over this little log here, move in to get a little bit closer to these dogs. See how they slightly moved at the movement of that tree. But anyway, we're going to go all the way to David up in the Mara.
Well done, Steve, with the wild dogs. Well done, Taylor, with Hosanna. And I'm sure you're trying to catch up with me with my lions this morning. Excellent. I knew at one point Taylor will be able to see Hosanna. Well, so far, nothing new for us. And we have what I'm guessing to be a rhino at a distance. And let me just confirm, I came in this area to see whether I could be lucky to see a black rhino. And I think we got a black rhino and a buffalo. Two huge herbivores, very close to each other, different species, totally different families. But how lucky. So I would be happy if Nick in the Final Control would throw a poll to the viewers between me here in the Mara Triangle and Taylor and Steve with wild dogs and Hosanna, and me with lions and the black rhino. I don't know what Nick you think about that, but it's quite unusual to see these two. Well, it's not unusual, it's possible, but I don't remember seeing a buffalo and a rhino just next to each other. I was requesting Nick in the Final Control to do a poll from the viewers and try and compare our sighting this morning. One sighting or one presenter guide in the Mara, and that is me, and combining Taylor and Steve in South Africa with wild dogs and Hosanna, and me with the lions and the black rhino. Sorry, there's a car way in the background there, but I'm sure hopefully they're watching us and finding out why we are standing or stopping here. But it's quite exciting to see these two different species together. Eh? In Kenya we got both black rhinos and white rhinos. But in the Mara Triangle we only got the black. And that's what you have on your screen there. The buffalo initially confused me. And I thought these were two rhinos, maybe a male and a female. But if you look at them carefully, the buffalo is much darker, much smaller. The morphology is also totally different. And funny how one is facing the other direction and the other one the other. Buffaloes very good in grazing. We know black rhinos are browsers. I'm sure maybe she got some plants or some vegetation. Should be able to eat where she is. Otherwise, you'll always see the black rhinos in the thickets, in the bushes, forested areas, not coming out open in the grass like where she is. And definitely there's something she's munching there. And again, remember, as we said earlier, this is a very interactive drive. Should you have any questions or comments, please send them through. David, I'm not sure it's you who got my name first or it's me, but what a wonderful name to hear, David. And they would tolerate each other, and as you can see there, the buffalo is minding its own business and just munching and moving around, and I know the same, and it's wonderful that we share the same name. Yeah, I would say they tolerate each other. We have a classical example of what you have on the screen there. So not sure the rhino is trying to munch, but you can tell the buffalo is just grazing and not even worried or thinking of the black rhino next to it. There could be a heron flying in the background there. We have seen many times buffaloes and rhinos even moving together. Joy, I'm trying to imagine from where I am. Those two animals are only 5 meters apart. They are 5 meters apart. And we are about, 100 meters away from where they are. So they're very close to each other, but I just think they're comfortably tolerating each other. Not once we have seen rhinos in the midst of a big or huge herd of buffaloes. And they tend not to bother each other. And, you do your thing, we do our thing. You graze, we eat, we eat. Rhinos browse, and they don't bother each other. People have always confused white rhinos, black rhinos, talking of colors between the two, but ideally they are the same. To all of you viewers, thank you very much. I think we're doing a pretty good job here, me and Manu, and we are winning by 1%. I wouldn't try to, request you to keep giving us more poll rating, me and Manu, but I'm very happy to hear that. It's quite unusual, just to be where we are. And Manu happened to I turned around to watch a lilac-breasted roller, but as I was doing that, Manu was like, 1 minute, I think there's a buffalo there, but I don't think it's a buffalo. It looks also, there's a rhino there. And we're very lucky. So I think the rhino have laid down because it was to the left of that. Yes, that's where she is. And she just laid down. It's not very hot, but maybe she may want to stay there and have a rest. Now, let's find out what this spotted cat is doing with Taylor.
Running away from us. Well, he's not running away from us, he's been walking away, and it's particularly hard to follow him because there's so many drainage lines. It's a serious area that he's walking through. He's hungry, he's trying to flush out all sorts of things. He chased a daycare for like 2 seconds as well and gave up. He's not having much luck, but he's trying this technique where he just tries to flush prey out, kind of like what wild dogs do. But I don't know if he realizes that he's not a wild dog and he can't keep the chase up for very long. Just watching him, he's just off in the distance walking. Oof, if he goes on there, I don't think I'm going to be able to follow him, so let's hope that he comes around. Let's give him a bit of a wide berth. He's looking, he's just scanning up ahead. Here's my favorite bird, Cape Classy Starling, going wee, wee. Let's see if we can hear a change in the sounds when Hosanna approaches this bird party, if they're going to be horrible to him and alarm. No one has seen him yet. Here's the squirrels. I've spotted him. You can hear that. Choo, 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 choo. That's the squirrels. In case you are new and you don't know which one is which. He's following a little game path at the moment, which I'm sure will be well used. I can't believe he chased out those banded mongoose. That was so cool. This was the third time I've ever seen banded mongoose in the northern Sabi Sands. Had a quick glimpse. Once I tried to show you, and then the time before was such a quick glimpse, I don't even think I mentioned it to you, so this was the third time. At least I got a good view of them. Okay, now we need to move. I don't know how, we're not going to be able to get in there, I'm afraid. We're just going to have to watch him try and follow him from the road. Right, while I keep my eyes open and follow where the young chief goes, let's go back to Steve and see what he's up to.
Well, the little chief is once again on the show. He doesn't go very long without being spotted. Yesterday morning we missed him. He doesn't take very long though. Well, we are still with wild dogs, and I made a statement to VM before. It's the first time I'm doing something. First time I'm having coffee with wild dogs. It's not something that I've normally allowed to come out of my mouth, because generally wild dogs are on the move and you're trying to keep up with them, but they are, as you can see, quite flat, quite stationary. And to jump back onto the topic before about the success or survival rates of these pups, it is really all dependent on these adults. And the adults are very alert. Their ears are constantly fanning and moving, and the four of them all positioned in a different sort of area. They're quite aware of the fact of the risk that the youngsters have towards them, and so they need the youngsters to swell the ranks, as it were. So they'll do everything they can to prevent anything from getting too close to them and causing them harm. Hello, Courtney. You want to know how new wild dog packs form? Well, essentially, it's just the meeting of a male and a female. They'll come across each other, however it might be. They might be calling, there might be some smells that they follow, and then there'd be a bit of a dominance display between the male and female, and that is basically it. If they decide, or she decides that he's the man for her, and he decides she's the woman for him, well, they will mate. They need to just find a little termite mound or something, and quite easily they can get up to 18 puppies the first time around, which is an enormous amount of puppies to be introduced to the population, but with only one mouth to assist in the feeding, that wouldn't be very ideal. So with 3 extra hands here to help feed, they were able to rear 6, which is, I suppose, is quite a low number with regards to wild dog pups. Maybe they've had more, we don't know. I don't know too much about the history. I don't know if anyone really saw them in the den. Were there more before? Have they lost a couple along the way? So that's essentially it. And these youngsters, after a year, are fully fledged members of the family. Okay, so Nikki reckons, but not 100% sure, that at least one has disappeared since being spotted by rangers in the beginning. So essentially, if these 6 survive, you're going to have suddenly 10 wild dogs in the pack, which is really, really good. And then obviously what will eventually happen after a period of time, because you might get too many mouths eventually, is you get a few individuals that might move away to go form their own pack. Maybe one female feels like breeding, will move away. I know there's only one female adult here at the moment, but if she has a daughter and the daughter decides, well, I want to go off on my own, she'll go off and potentially meet a nice young gentleman from a family somewhere nearby, and the whole process will start over again. Carol, no, there's one dominant couple, the alpha male and female, within the pack, and they generally are the only ones to breed. And the purpose of that is that there's not enough assistance to help with the breeding. If 2-3 females fell pregnant, it just wouldn't work. What has happened in the past is you might have 2 females that breed, and then the alpha will just claim all of them as her own, and then the other female will just have to run around and do the feeding. So essentially what happens after the breeding is the alpha stays with the pack, with the babies the entire time, and the others go off searching for food. Now it begs the question, are these the three males that were running around that interested us the entire time during the TV show? That I'm not sure about. Hello, Cindy. Well, when the adults go off to hunt, one of them actually does stay. There's generally always one that stays. Maybe a little bit later on you might get all of the adults going, but up until they're ready to leave the den, there's generally always one adult, generally the alpha female, that stays around. And, I mean, if you've seen Thandi and Tlalamba, the leopardess of the area, whenever Tlalamba wants to follow and Thandi wants her to stay, she gives her a look. A little bit of a growl, a bit of a snarl, and Tlalamba's learned that means stay. Dogs would be the same as well. There'd be some form of communication. It might be auditory, it might be a little bit of a facial expression, but through that communication they would know, okay, we've been told to stay right here, and they will do exactly what they've told. And that is sort of a trait that's been passed down from population to population, because if you don't stay when you're supposed to stay and you get eaten or you die, well, those genetic traits don't follow you through. So obedience in the animal kingdom between adult and youngster is basically a trait that's worked very well due to safety and the fact that because it's worked, that trait passes itself on down the line. We are so blessed, though, to be able to see what we see here in Djuma, and to be able to have wild dog puppies running around. I was very excited when I heard about it, and thank you for the suggestion this morning, James, to come out and find them. We have found them. Let's go to David with a bird of prey.
Yeah, wild dogs on a good day can keep you really entertained. And we've got a feather fan here, and I think this is a juvenile African fish eagle. It's a juvenile African fish eagle, or I'll call it, to me, Sabadot. Hasn't fledged completely to the beautiful brown, black colors and the white they usually have. You can see the wind is blowing its feathers a little bit on the head. A bit windy now. You can see how the branches are also being moved, or the leaves on where she is patched up. Some nice marsh areas where we are, not far from where she is, where I would guess she would go fishing. As the name suggests, marsh eagle, or fish eagle rather. They'll always be feeding on fish. Got some zebras out there. So what I want to move forward a little bit and have a better view of the African fish eagle from the front, if it doesn't go away. And if it does, we'll be compensated by some zebras there, not far from where she is. See whether we can get the face of it. I've always done some of these raptors, when you get close to them, they'll fly away. But you just want to sneak to her very quietly and so they can get a better view of her, maybe from the face or the breast, the front side of it. Don't go away, fish eagle. We'll see if we turn around here what it looks like. Manu, what do you think? Do you think this is good or not really? Okay, Manu thinks we are doing good. Well done, Manu. Yes, it's one thing seeing a bird from the back and also seeing the same bird from the front. And as I said earlier, it is a sabadot. Sometimes I say birds will always be immature, then they become juvenile, and then they'll be fully grown. Preening herself, just realigning the feathers. They don't fly a lot because thank you very much that everybody agrees with me. Some of these big birds, or even the small ones, when they're immature, they'll always sometimes confuse us and we'll have wrong IDs for them. But I'm happy all of you agree this is a juvenile African fish eagle. Are you looking at us? And when did you leave your parent to be on your own? And this reminds me of the national bird of the United States, the bald eagle. But apparently, I think, I could be wrong, they're totally on different families, as much as they look identical. And I do not know of any country in Africa where they would claim ownership of this as their national bird. Print yourself. Jennifer, how are you today? And I think you are absolutely right. About 5 years for their heads to turn completely white. Yes, and most eagles will do that. The martial eagle will take 3 to 4 years to get its full-fledged on its plumage. The Battalion eagles will take 7 to 8 years to get to their full colors from immature to adult. And thank you very much, Jennifer. Yeah, 5 years or so to get the head turning completely white. Beautiful. I'll be trying to get a picture of a fully grown adult African fish eagle as you keep enjoying that one. Very good morning. We only don't do cats, but also it's good to also do birds. So I'll be trying to look in my book and find out where the eagles are. And then I'm sure once I get that, right, this is the African fish eagle 3540. Let me see before we take you to Hosanna. Okay. Man, when you get a minute and you come to me, I'll be happy. I don't know how the light looks like, but if you look at number 6 there, not very good light because of the backlight there. That's number 6 there. Thank you, Manu, for the good job. And that's the African fish eagle. And that's an adult. And if you look on the head and coming down behind the head, you can see all white. And Jennifer, thank you. That happens at about 5 years of age. Well, we'll move on and let's find out what Hosanna is up to now.
Well, we managed to find him again. Goodness, we lost him for about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes now. He took the leopard way, which was, of course, the most obvious way to walk through the wilderness when you're in animals, on a game path, which he was following. But we couldn't follow him because it was just so thick. And so many trees have been pushed over by the elephants because he's walking along the drainage lines, which we know all the ellies and a lot of the animals come down to feed on at this time of the year. So it was just too difficult. And I mean, that's unusual because I'm normally quite willing and happy to off-road to try and get when we can. But I just couldn't without potentially breaking the vehicle. So we opted to hang around on the road. And then we just sat, we listened, and then he popped out. So that was good for us, that was nice. But you can see he's panting. It's hot now. I don't know what the temperature is, but I would say it's probably about 25 or 26 degrees Celsius. What do you think, Senzo? Maybe not that hot. With the breeze, maybe a little bit cooler, but I think if there was no breeze, it would be a lot warmer. So he's been on the move, and he was very busy the whole of last night at Vuatelepan. I think he did catch a scrub here, if I'm not mistaken, if I saw a tweet where somebody said he did. So he did catch a scrub here, if I'm not mistaken, or he was at least trying to. Okay, so it is 26 degrees Celsius. I don't know why I'm pretty good guessing the temperature of the weather, and that's about it. So there are lots of deco around here. We've passed about 3, but it was along the road. There's also a whole lot of hyenas hanging around here this morning, and this is where we had Tandi's tracks. So I don't know if Tandi has maybe made a kill in the area, that it is so busy. Because the fact that the hyenas are still lingering suggests to me that something is around here. Three red, I think it's only a matter of time before Tingana goes enough is enough and sends him on his way. He's watching an Egyptian goose now, by the way. That is why he's doing that. There's an Egyptian goose too that have flown past and went rah, rah. And now he got up to watch them fly past. I think that just shows you how young Hosanna still is. Don't you think? Just the smallest thing still catches his attention, and he's very, very playful. I really hope that he never loses his playfulness. However, I think once Tingana does decide that enough is enough, and he sends Hosana on his way, perhaps that will encourage him to grow up a little bit more. But he's allowed to live young and free and be playful. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And he's doing well. It's not like he's not, fending for himself, or if he's not like he's unable to catch himself a meal. He's fully capable of that. His youngness definitely and inexperience gets in the way. He hasn't learned patience yet. He's going to walk straight towards us. This will be cool. Oh, you got a thorn in your paw. You better take that out. Now spit it out. Don't eat it. Lynn, his nose might stay pink for the rest of his life. Hi, big boy. I'm just going to sit. I just want to watch him. He's coming right here. Doesn't even look at us. So not all animals will lose the pink tinge on their nose. Sometimes it stays like that forever. Look at the spotty-nosed lioness, for example, in the Nkuhuma Pride. Off he goes. Okay, let's reposition. Let me go back onto the road again. I just snuck off the road. Okay, he's just jumping on it now. Yeah, back onto the road. Okay, well, we'll keep following Hosana, and hopefully he finds some breakfast. Off you go to David, who's got a bird party, and it sounds like there's quite a few hammerkop.
Yeah, Taylor, make sure you do not lose Hosana. Keep following him. And we have come to a bird's party here, and we got hammerkops. I've always noticed hammerkops will go as a pair, and I would guess in general a male and a female. But for once, I'm seeing 5 of them together. I'm not sure what these two are trying to do. Is it courtship? Do they want to mate? And there's a lot of courting going on here. That's what I would say. And this can be an entertaining sighting for me and Manu just to watch, because there are 5 of them. This one seems to be standing out on herself, but the other 4, it's like 2 and 2. Not sure the hyena wants to spoil the party there. Come on, hyena, get out and don't get involved in this. You're of a different species of an animal. We want this party of the hammerkops to continue. So they seem to be pairing 2 and 2. And they think there's a lot of courtship going on here. Okay, look at that. How cute is that? Manu, what do you think? That is amazing. And Manu says that's incredible. It is. I haven't seen that before. And actually, I don't think they're mating, but it seems to be kind of a mating or a courtship going on here. 2 of them just flew away, and the hyena that just passed, you can hear whoop. Very good work, Manu. So one is off. Either the one that did not have a partner, and I think it was invading the space of the other 4 that were like pairing 2 and 2. Very good. She's gone. And then we have how many on the ground there? 3. Okay, 1 gone, either following the other one. Hammerkops, code hammerkops, because if you look on their head, the head looks like a hammer, and I think cop, K-O-P. Maybe go join the other one. Always moving as a pair, a male and a female. But today we have seen a different party. Very good. Cop, yes. And Nikki just confirmed to me in his head. And they're all gone now, man, isn't it? And there's a bigger party there. It's a very big congregation. I'm sure you might be looking for the collective noun of hammerkops. There's a huge number of them there. And definitely that area, I think, is a small little wetland. And the courtship continues. There's a lot of display there going on. We'll try and see whether they'll get anywhere close to that and see whether these hammercops would be mating or not. But in the meantime, let's find out whether the wild dogs are doing anything.
The dogs are still relaxing. We finally had one, did a bit of movement as you came live with us, which is awesome. And now he's going to go live with the rest of the puppies. They are very, very cute. And quite camouflaged indeed. So David wasn't sure about the hammercops. They often will go and jump on top of each other in something known as false mounting. They're not 100% sure what the purpose of it is, but what they do by doing that is they make themselves look bigger. They make a lot of noise, and it often be a pair that will do it to another pair to say, look how big we are. This is kind of our area. So that's kind of what it is, called false mounting. But I think the dogs are way more interesting than my face. But interesting to see that. I've seen a third hammerkop on top of a pair, and that looked really, really funny, especially with the noises that they make at the same time. Very interesting behavior. Hammerkops are such funny animals. But this is about as good a view as we can get of the dogs without causing them. Shadowy pancake, well, wild dogs are regarded as more of a crepuscular sort of species, which means they're active at dusk and dawn when temperatures are kind of suitable for them. But if it is a nice cool day, they'll be quite active during the day. It really depends on the weather. We are approaching summer again, and it's getting warm. It's already in the 30 degrees Celsius mark, probably in the high 80s, low 90s at the moment. So it's already getting quite warm. So it's all about energy conservation. They've had a meal. There's no need for them to be moving. So if they catch something early in the morning, well, then they'll just stay right where they are. But what they've done is what we can see what they've done. They've moved about 80, 90 meters away from where they killed that steenbok. And it's possible that's because of a smell, maybe because they've got their youngsters. They don't want to attract the unwanted attention of another predator. But due to competition, due to the fact that we were talking earlier about, wild dogs are dangerous to humans, and well, they are the lowest on the pecking order. Maybe cheetah and wild dog are on a similar sort of standpoint, but they avoid other predators by being active more in the daytime or when it's dusk and dawn, and also being able to be highly mobile is one of their major defenses. But at nighttime, unless it's a full moon, I don't think they'll do too much. They'll just probably try lie down somewhere. They'll constantly be active though, aware of what's going on around them, and then in the heat of the day is when they probably get their proper rest. So I hope that answers your question. It's not cut and dry like that though. We see leopards and lions and wild dogs being active in the middle of the day. It really is an energy conservation sort of element. It's the same as us here. Sometimes we go running in the middle of the day, and sometimes we go running a little bit earlier. It all depends on the weather. Sometimes it also depends on our energy levels. Okay, well, one vehicle's moving out. We might get to move into a better position to see these puppies. And while we do that, I believe the little chief is posing, as he normally does, on a termite mound.
He's falling asleep as we speak. Look at that tongue. Look how it's sticking out of his mouth now. There he is, fast asleep. I don't think we'll stay with Hosanna for very much longer, as I think he is just going to enjoy a nap and chase the shade. You can see he's very relaxed now. There's also a bee flying around the car. That's wonderful. Shadowy, I suppose leopards and things sweat from their paws. They don't typically have sweat glands like you and I, so I don't think they're sweating on their coats or anything like that, so they have to pant to try and deal with it. But I'm pretty certain, I could be talking absolute nonsense, that they can sweat sort of through their sort of paws. But just by laying in the shade, look how his breathing has become a lot more shallow now. Yeah, still breathing deep, or sort of quite shallowly. I don't know. But he hasn't got his mouth open and is panting as heavily as what he was just a moment ago. That's definitely Definitely found a nice cool spot. He's also sitting up and out into the open, and you can hear that the wind is picked up, and it's not a hot berg wind like we had yesterday. It's actually quite cool, so that's going to help cool him down as well. Fast asleep now. But I'm pretty sure if an animal of sorts comes racing on past, he'll try and catch it. Although I think he'll be in the area. This is quite a nice spot to sleep until the sun moves a bit further to the west, then he's going to be in a bit of trouble. But there's a big drainage line not too far from here that he can go and sleep in, which I'm sure we'll find him in a little bit later. But also keep an eye on the dam cam throughout the day. He's not particularly far from Vuyatelapan, and from here it's kind of equal distance to Buffelshoek Dam to Vuyatela Dam, so he could go either way. I don't know if he'll go back up towards Buffelshoek Dam, because that seems to be the direction that he's come from. So I think he obviously went into Buffelshoek last night, did a loop, popped past the Buffelshoek Dam, had a drink, and then made his way down through one of the main drainage systems that kind of comes back this way towards Inyala Road north and south. And now he's here, just resting. Starting to hear the testiculars now. I think they've realized that there's a leopard around. They're all shouting, not particularly impressed, also not hanging around. Moving on. So go away birds, lots of them around here. So I think he's going to have a tough time trying to catch something, just because he's got so many sort of odds against him with all the fruiting jackalberries that have lined this drainage line. There are going to be a lot of eyes watching him. Rima, no, I can't say that I can smell a leopard other than when they scent mark. And that's a bit of buttery popcorn smell. But, I mean, you get the same scent you get from wild dogs, or you get from a rhino, or buffalo, or even elephants. I find, and hippos actually have a certain smell to them. But a leopard, I mean, Hosana walked straight past, and I didn't notice any difference. I didn't pick up any particular scent that was strange. Maybe if he was wet and dirty, there'd be a scent of sorts, but currently I just smell nature, what it normally smells like out here, very earthy. Okay, we're gonna go now. Hosana, enjoy your sleep, have fun. Daltron, just gonna reverse around here. Bye, Hosana. It's pretty incredible to have Hosana walk past a car like that. You know, when I first started guiding, I'd obviously get very, very nervous, a little bit scared. Now I understand that if you sit very quietly, they're not interested in you at all. Obviously, if you give them a reason to be interested in the vehicle, like if you stuck your leg out, remember I have no door here either. If I stuck my foot out and dangled it, then yeah, I'm probably going to come over to see what on earth is going on and what is that. So, oh, here's a hyena. So we don't do things like that, and it's amazing though. It's quite a nice experience. But these are the hyenas that have been hanging around in the area. I'm just there we go. One very, very quick look. Who are you, hyena? Because I know you all love the hyenas so much. We're also sitting downwind as this hyena defecates, which is a wonderful smell. That, of course, is not nice. It seems as though the wild dog puppies are up on the termite mound, and hopefully they're awake and playing.
Indeed they are. Now the vehicle moved out and we've managed to creep ourselves forward, and now we've got a proper little visual of all of these youngsters. And the one on the right has got a really nice fat belly from a meal of steenbok. And I'm just going to keep quiet for a moment and see if you can hear the whining that's going on amongst these youngsters. Of course, now they've stopped. They've been making a whole lot of whining noise, typical dog squealing noise. You can hear Mariko Sunbird in the background, but the dogs have stopped their whining. The two of the adults walked to where we had parked our car. Maybe we had some scat or something on one of our wheels. They walked to where we had parked before, and they started doing this very interesting behavior of stepping over the grass and almost anal pasting in a way, or almost scent marking in a way. I'm not 100% sure. I've never seen anything like that before. But then all the youngsters walked up to the exact same spot, were giving it a sniff, were mimicking what the adults were doing, and the entire time were making this low squealing sound. They're trying to shelter themselves a little bit there in the shade of the termite mound. It is quite warm in the sunshine, as VM and myself can attest, because we are sitting directly in the sunshine. That one most certainly. While the lack of inoculations and sort of the lack of what should I say, proper medical care of dogs in and around conservation areas. A lot of the dogs in and around conservation areas are not sort of fixed. They're not inoculated at birth, and if they do get any sort of disease, that's very easily transferred by two wild dogs, because the thing is with wild dogs is they sniff absolutely everything. That's what they do. They're constantly sniffing, putting their nose into stuff. What's going on? What have they spotted? The youngsters, oh, a hyena is being chased. The wild dog have decided that is exactly the antagonistic. I don't know if, I didn't see if you got that, V. Did you get it? A little bit. But all four adults are up and after the hyena, and now this is going to be interesting to see whether we're going to be able to find them again. They might come back here, but that was what happened. I saw the one adult stand up with its ears flat and walked directly towards the wild dog and the hyena and started chasing it, and then the rest of them got up and followed the youngsters in tow, and the hyena took off. It knew it was outmatched. But it could sneak up and it could potentially kill a youngster if it's allowed to. The wild dogs will not allow that to happen. Please come back, dogs. Yes, all the way back here. Courtney, that's a good question. I mean, I don't think the pups would, due to the fact that the pups are constantly going to follow the adults now. They're not going to be left alone. They're not going to be left alone at all. I think they're going to be constantly following until they are fully mature. They just basically they're integrated into the pack now, into the family now. So I don't think they'll do any hunting on their own, because they won't necessarily be on their own. I think they might slowly come back here, because this female she's moved back. She's just off to our right hand side. Another adult has joined it, so they have got the nice prime spot here. So that is exactly what I was talking about earlier, about how these adults will defend their youngsters, and anything comes near it, they will smell it, they will hear it, they will chase it. They will obviously be the aggressor. And that hyena had its tail tucked between its legs and was on its way. It's a bit late in the morning, you'd think, for a hyena to be moving, but it's possible that just the smells of the steenbok kill, or maybe the hyena wasn't far away, heard the noises of the wild dogs a little while ago and decided to come and investigate. They are opportunistic hunters, as you know, or scavengers, as you know, and they'll always try and pick up on something that they can get for free. And the wild dogs and the hyena have got a running battle for a very long time. One wild dog on the hyena. Hyena definitely got the power, but it's the family that benefits the wild dog in their strength. And how the youngsters all jumped on board and chased that hyena with them was fantastic stuff to see. Really, really a first for me. So I'm very excited to be in this position. Here they're whinnying again. But anyway, on that note, we're going to go back up to the Mara River and David Gitu.
Well, dogs, any time you spot them, you should say that's your lucky day. We just decided to come, close to the Mara River and find out if anything could be happening here. But we're just enjoying the view of this water as it is flowing all the way to Lake Victoria. This is the Mara River, one of the longest rivers we have in East Africa, or rather in Kenya precisely, and it originates in around some highlands in Kenya, and 65% of this river flows through Kenya, and about 35% of it flows through a country south of Kenya called Tanzania. Then it goes all the way to Lake Victoria. It's about 400 kilometers long, or about 250 odd miles. And when we talk of migration, this river comes in the picture, and it's always such a spectacle to see the wildebeest and zebras trying to cross this river every year, and the big reptiles, the crocodiles, trying to bring them down. Where we are now, we don't have any crocodiles, not even the hippos that will be around like where we are. This particular area is a bit shallow, and I'm sure hippos could not be where we are. Oh, there's one hippo there, yes. Good, man. That area is a little bit deep. Good spotting, yes. In the background there's one. Excellent. At least we have seen one hippo. And, I mean, I just, told man we just come here and just spend a few minutes just to enjoy the scenery. 3 to 4 meters is like the average depth of this river, depending on where you are. And hippos, as you can see there, just standing on the base of the river, meaning that particular area there, it's not very deep. So again, talking of migration, most of the wildebeest and zebras, when they migrate, at one point, they'll have to cross this river. You can see the banks when the water is a lot. You'll have water flowing in that particular area and eroding it a bit. And you'd imagine a plunge or a jump of a wildebeest from there down. Very dangerous for the hippo you just saw there. We have lots of crocs and huge Nile crocs, in the water, but also on the edge. We have seen many times elephants either feeding by the banks of the river, or buffaloes or lions waiting for the wildebeest to cross. And that could be very dangerous. Way back, I hear there are people who try to use canoes, but it happened to be very dangerous and it was stopped. Let's find out what Stivovo is up to now.
Well, the wild dogs have all come back to exactly where they were originally. I'm quite glad about that, because where they'd run to, well, that's quite a thick, dense area. It would have taken us a fair bit of effort to get through. Here's a youngster finding a nice cool patch by digging the sand up and lying on top of the sand. I see quite a few animals doing that in the summertime. The sand underneath the surface is a lot cooler than on the top of the surface, and also by doing that you also move away any sticks or thorns that might be lying there to make yourself a nice little bed. So I think we're very fortunate to be able to spend time with youngsters like this. Very, very. Kendall, from about a year, the wild dogs then ingratiated properly, officially into the family. But from a breeding stage, I would assume probably from about 2 or so. Normally we look at maturities from a sexual maturity sort of point of view, but from a year they'll actively be hunting with the adults. At the moment I think they follow them and they just try to keep up with them, but they don't actually get involved in any of the actual hunting itself. They just catch up with them by the end, and then they just help feed on whatever's been caught. But the active hunting itself, that will be at least until a year age, so they're probably halfway there. Misa from Wisconsin, most certainly. They were busy eating a steenbok earlier, and they've got little plump bellies there. The wild dogs eat meat from quite an early age. From at least 2.5, 3 months, the adults are bringing meat back to the den for the alpha female, maybe even earlier than that. And the youngsters will always come out and will beg off of the adults for meat, which will then be regurgitated, so not off of the carcass itself. But now, because they are following the animals, but Nikki's saying that last week they were still regurgitating. It all depends on how far away from the pups they are when they make the kill. If the pups are in tow, well, they'll just move in and feed directly from the kill. But also the adults are able to feed a lot quicker than the youngsters. So it might get to the stage where 4 adults and 6 youngsters on a steenbok, the adults take a lot more of the food, and the youngsters have learnt that begging, sitting at the bottom of an adult and begging and biting their ankles, is a good or surefire. But soon it's going to get to the point where the adults are going to say, enough of that, you need to provide for yourself. I'm not vomiting up my meat for you. You need to do it all on your own. But at the moment, I think they're still at that sort of tender age where they're still quite cute and quite adorable, and the adults. Hello, Irene. You want to know how we tell the difference between pups and adults? Well, here, these are miniature versions of the adults because of the colors. Only from about 6-7 months do they start getting this sort of brown and white spots on the coat itself, the tricolor. When they are born, they are black with a white tip on the tail. As they by the fact that the tricolor is coming through, but they're still a little bit more tawny than the adults, but they do look like little mini versions of them. You can see one of the adults. See, the colors are very, very similar, a little bit more dirty in fact on the adult, but they've just gone through that stage where the colorations come out, and obviously those colors help in camouflage. Before they were just black. That helped in them keeping nice and warm when they're in the den, and in the early mornings sit in the sunshine, warm themselves up. Sarah, as far as I'm aware, all mammals go through milk teeth and then normal teeth. So yes, I'm pretty sure wild dogs do the same. I'm not sure at exactly what age they would have lost their milk teeth, but I think they're probably already developing their adult teeth, because probably lost the milk teeth and now the adult teeth are coming through, but very small at the moment. So I don't think they'd be able to bite too hard at the moment. Maybe the force won't be too hard, but the teeth will probably be nice and sharp. But soon, you know, by the time they reach 1 year, which is in about 4 or 5 months, they'll be pretty much fully grown, and their teeth will be doing exactly what they need to do to rip the carcasses apart. Sitting Bull, that's a great question. I mean, by looking at their ears, you would assume that wild dogs use their ears in an enormous amount of hunting. But I think a lot of what the ears are there for is not just for hunting, but it's also for protection. Now, while they're lying here, their ears are able to sort of move in like a radar-like fashion, and they're able to pick up on sounds from all sorts of directions. So I think the ears are more of a survival strategy, and I think they hunt a lot sound to the hunting. But what I've seen in my experience with the dogs is they just go running, and they're looking for animals, and they see an animal in sight and off they go and they chase it. I'm sure there's an element to smelling as well. We all know dogs are very, very good at smelling. Their ears obviously play a part in that, but I think the ears are mainly as a defense mechanism, being able to detect predators before the predators get too close, and that is their saving grace, because they're quite agile and quite fast. If they can hear something approaching, well, they can move away just in time, and if they hear something in the distance, they can maybe go and challenge it or move away before it's too late. But anyway, we are going to stay here with our wild dogs and the puppies. I'm very excited to be here. I am having another cup of coffee, but while we do that, let's go over to Taylor, who's busy driving.
Welcome back. Goodness, I can't believe how windy it has all of a sudden got today. So we are now going down Philemon's cut line, and it's all of a sudden got very bright too. It's just can't see now, and it's hazy. I wonder if there's a fire somewhere. Yesterday was really, really hazy. I think there was a big fire, I don't know, maybe in Kruger or down further south, because it's pretty much blue sky. And the reason why I think that there's a fire is because there's no haze on top of it. It's just sort of low laying. Anyways, so we're going to just bumble about, check a couple of areas, see what we can find. Maybe we see some cool birds along the way. Although it sounds like Steve has covered some of the really cool birds. Oh, zebra. Hang on, we might be able to stop here. Hello, zebra. Oh, they've got oxpeckers too. Ah, perfect. Just looking back at us to check. I can only count 3 of them. Just listening out. There's no birds moving through here at all. So just the 3 zebra. I wonder if these are the same 3 zebra that have been moving around. About how I've been seeing tracks of zebra everywhere. Anyways, it's just this lot covering quite a bit of ground. I think they're just trying to search for nice grass. And then, of course, zebra also are water-dependent animals, so you'll see them, well, not too far away from water. So, again, they're kind of in between Treehouse Dam and Vuyatela Pan now, so keep an eye out. Maybe they go to the Pan during the day, and that looks like the stallion. And I haven't quite worked out if it is just a little bachelor group of zebra, or if perhaps there are some mares. But he's very, very big. Lauren, you know, I don't think there are any wild horses in Africa, except when I went to this little town called Kaapsehoop. It's here in the Mpumalanga region. It's quite close to Nelspruit, which is a fairly big, well, a big bush city, if you will. About 3 hours, 3.5 hours from where we are. And that little town, Kaapsehoop, there are horses that roam freely, but they don't really know where they came from. Some suspect from the Boer War, others suspect that it was a circus that had come through and some horses had escaped and then they bred up. But there's quite a few, there's a couple of hundred, if I'm not mistaken, that roam around there. So it was really amazing. As you're driving, you had to be very, very careful, and there's lots of big signs basically saying, you know, be care of the horses. Oh, apparently Namibia has wild horses. I don't know much about the horses of Namibia. Sadly, I've never been there before. But that's pretty cool, though. And they're a breed of horse called a boerperd. So they're a very tough sort of farm horse, if you will. They don't get particularly big. I would say an average, unless they're bred with something else, but they're normally around maybe 16 hands. A really big boerperd would probably get to about 16 but that's enormous. Typically, they're much smaller. But we'll keep on searching. We are going to go into a nice area we could potentially see some cool birds, maybe some more robins and things like that, and woodpeckers. David, however, has got the warthogs, and I hope they haven't run away.
Yeah, search for anything and drive around, Taylor, see what you see. And we have a pig now. It's getting better and better for us here in Manu. And we got a warthog who apparently has a baby on the other side. So she is, I think, you know, hiding the baby from us, but as she moves, we might have a chance to see the baby. See the baby there? Not sure the baby want to suck her or something. It may not be very loud. They're quite a distance from where we are, but I think that piglet there is nursing. No doubt about it, she is definitely suckling. And such a good mother, giving us space to enjoy breakfast. The mother has been eating the last 10 minutes. So I think it's only fair for her to stop and give her baby the chance also to enjoy the breakfast. And not very far from there, there's a huge male buffalo munching, facing the other side. Nick says that's very cute. It's around the marsh area. It's one area that's always full of action. And strange to see her, well, not strange to see her with one. The warthogs would get would be 3, sometimes 5. Trying to remember how many mammary glands they got. I think they got 4. And I wouldn't know what would happen if they have 5 piglets. And I have always known when you have a litter of 5 piglets, one will tend to die. They tend to get very attached to the teat. Dr. Ruff, yes, so cute to see all the babies today. And I'm not sure she's trying that baby, Dr. Ruff, either to scent mark. I haven't known of warthog scent marking, or she's just trying to sharpen, you know, her teeth. I don't know exactly what she's doing there. And I'm happy, Dr. Ruff, you're enjoying all this. And that's a great comment. Don't stay away from the mama. Otherwise, you risk yourself being brought down by predators. Just man, I will not know for a fact. I need to find out an answer for that. I don't remember very well at what point they started growing the tusk, but I'm sure I am going to do my homework today and let you know. So if you look at the mother now, she is feeding kneeling down, and the reason for that is she needs to get some good leverage to dig out the tubers of the roots of the grass, because they got very short necks, and when they kneel down while eating, it's a lot easier for them to feed. And I'm sure the babies or the piglets will always have a lot to learn from their mothers. And how cute is this? And I think today is a day for babies either of warthogs or babies of wild dogs.
Yes, well, I think warthogs are very cute, but baby wild dog pups, I'm sorry, I don't think there's much out here that can compete. Well, I posted something on Twitter a moment ago to see if anyone can identify this. He's still on my sleeve still, he's still here. Whoopsie, the wind is blowing. Look how camouflaged the beautiful little moth is. I wonder if anybody knows. I'm sure there's some individuals out there that could ID this for us quite quickly. I think he'd be a little bit more camouflaged sitting on a branch or on a leaf. It's extremely camouflaged. Looks like a nice rusty leaf in the autumn. Obviously that's how they get by from a safety point of view. So anybody know? Hashtag SafariLive, let us know. I haven't been able to displace him off my sleeve for the last 10 minutes, but he seems quite content. It's maybe a nocturnal species. It's like, no, it's too early in the day to be flying away. As we sit here still with our wild dogs. I'm not 100% sure actually, David, when warthogs start getting their tusks. I'm sure it's from about 6 months or so they start to develop very small little protrusions on the head. But what I do know is that that beard, that sort of moustache-like beard that they have on the side of the face, those white tufts along the side of the face, are actually mimics. They're designed there to be a mimic for tusks. So when a cheetah or a wild dog or something like that sees a young piglet, it sees these enormous white things on the side of the face, and it thinks twice against trying to take it down, because those tusks are designed for penetrating and piercing and cutting open the intestinal area of an animal that tries to bring them down. So it gives that animal a moment of respite to obviously run away from the eyes or the attention of whatever predator it is that might be trying to catch them. Kind of like a bit of a stall, a moment of a stall, which is always, or it's everything that an individual needs, is just a moment, because everything out here happens in moments. And if a warthog can get just that little bit ahead of whatever it is pursuing it, well, there's a good chance it's going to get away. Oh, over here we have a young Bateleur eagle that is coming in here on our side. I don't know if you're going to be able to get him. It's pretty tricky light. There we go. The tightrope walker. Off he goes. Maybe he's coming to try to find that steenbok. You can see how he flaps. Very low altitude flyer. With that light that we just had there, it's quite tricky to really tell you which. But I could see before it came around that it was a youngster. Mike, I don't know if a lunar moth's very, very big and colourful. I don't think it's a lunar moth. I don't know offhand what moth this is. He's still attached to me here. I don't honestly know offhand what moth it is. But, oopsie, that's why I did ask. But lunar moths are very, very big and very beautiful, and they've got different shades to them. Not just this green. I don't know. I'm sure it's probably going to be some very. Oh, he's on my face now. It's just going to be something really quite simple. I do need to brush up on my moths and butterflies. But anyway, talking about camouflaged, and these wild dogs are still beautifully camouflaged in to the side of the termite mound. Can you say that again, Nikki? I got an answer there, but I didn't quite hear it. So the moth is potentially a lupus moth, if I'm getting that correctly. Lupus moth, Geometridae. I didn't hear who you said that, Nikki, but sounds good. Sounds good. Aurelia, you know your moths. Well, if you are saying that, I think you might be correct. I need to go and check it up when I get back. I'm going to have to borrow a book on moths. I don't have the one on moths. As the summer is drawing closer, and we are going to start getting our wonderful butterflies and moths out again in their abundance. Very important pollinators out here in the African wilderness, or in every wilderness, in fact. Okay. Well, our dogs are very, very flat, and I'm sure they're not going to be getting up anytime soon. But anyway, we're going to go over to Taylor, who seems to have found a beautiful little bird.
We have, and let me see if, can you all hear? Very high-pitched call. That's the pole-spotted owlet making that noise. I've never heard them make that alarm call, but well, not, sorry, I don't know if it is an alarm call. I've just never heard them make that call before. There are two of them. The other one has just flown off to the other tree. Let's see if it's going to maybe follow. This is the second owl that we spotted. I really do like this area here. We're on Mendoza Road. So that kind of, Terminalia, bush willow, sort of marula tree area that the cheetah used to like to hang around in. It makes for a very good spot for birding. And pretty awesome to see the owls out during the day. And to hear a call that I've never heard them make before. I wonder what that means. If it's just communicating close contact with the other owl. I don't think it's alarming at anything. That's so epic. I wonder if it's a youngster maybe. I'm just quickly going to have a look on my bird app. Just want to see when they breed. Owl. Another bird that's come onto scene I don't recognize its call either. Movements, foraging and food, breeding. Laying dates. Ah, no, they start nesting now. This time of the year, so that won't be a youngster. Well, unfortunately, I don't think we'll be seeing any owl nests or inside them because they typically will nest in hollows of trees. Trying to also find the other bird that's now joined this owl. I can just hear it, but I can't see it. Jasmine, I suppose it depends on what owl species it is, but you won't. They've got really big feet. Now, with raptors, with birds that eat other animals, their prey is not determined on their body size, but in fact by the size of their feet and the size of their talons. So these birds kind of look out of proportion when you are lucky enough to see them not silhouetted like this. You can see how large their feet are, and they'll catch little rodents, some mice and things like that. That'll be much longer than them if you include the tail of those birds. But these guys, the pearl-spotted owlets, they love to eat locusts and crickets and all sorts of things like that. So it just depends, and then you'll get something like a, let's have another look. Here it is again. Oh, it's just flown. Have we got a gap there, Senzo? Now we don't have it silhouetted. Up top, there's a branch that sort of forks right at the back, a little bit to the right. So basically where we had it, if you just go straight here, Senzo, there it is. So up, go up, up, and then go to the right. There we go. Now, there we go. Just watch my finger on the monitor. That is it there. There we go. So like a Varro's eagle owl will be catching things like scrub hares, maybe even really brand new Daker or Steenbok, because they're absolutely tiny when they're born. But they like to catch big birds as well. They'll catch guinea fowl and francolins and all sorts of things. Very nice to see it in color too. An unusual one that it's making that sound. I've never heard that. Somebody help me. Why is it making that noise? Where are the ornithologists? Anyways, hashtag SafariLive if you know or if you've ever heard that, and I'll make that call. Off you go to a fish eagle.
The difference I think I've noticed between South Africa and most Juma Game Reserve in the Mara Triangle is we do not, or we rarely, in Juma it's very easy to see owls in the owlet, the spotted ones, even during the day. But while we have our African fish eagle just gliding up there in there as it is warming up, and heat thermals are building up, and I'm sure that is what she is enjoying, to either glide and looking for food on the ground, and maybe later on she might be lucky to hunt for herself. We're having primates now, different animals that we have not seen. Monkeys for quite some time. We've got the baboons, and these are what we call the olive baboons, and either feeding on some seeds or flowers, leaves of something, roots, tubers. They've been known to go in big groups. This big guy there. Hello there. Good morning, sir. And you can tell, no doubt, he is a boy. I don't know what he's trying to show us. Manu, what do you think he is doing? Manu is telling me he is trying to emphasize he is a male, and we are not disputing that. Mr. Baboon, we agree with you. And in every group colony, or, you know, what sometimes a scratch, you got some ticks there, or where you scratching yourself? Rima, just like all primates, just like us, baboons are omnivores, and they'll eat green, and they are also cannibals. Lizards, skinks, name it. So baboons are omnivores, and they'll eat both green, as what you can see them there, either leaves or flowers or seeds they're picking on, but they have been known to go for baby rabbits, or for lambs of impalas, or, you know, fawns of Thompson gazelles. They'll eat anything that is cannibal-like. That, I would guess, is a female, by the virtue of her being small. Linda will say you're very welcome, and always a pleasure to hear your name. And we feel very excited. Great comments you always give us, and you give us also pleasure when you send such comments to us, and it makes us feel so good. And Manu equally gets excited. As much as he likes hiding behind the camera, he equally gets very excited. Always your questions and comments make our life. She's looking carefully at those baboons. And this one seems to be very busy eating. It's like they're competing on eating. Man, what do you think? Picking leaves, picking seeds of the grass there, competing who eats most, staying the three of them together there. Well, wonderful people, Linda, and, you know, all the other nice viewers, Giraffe Girl, Mark, anybody who requested we show them something. We got a job to do tomorrow or this afternoon to get the pups. But for myself, Pups with Steve, thank you for tuning in, and goodbye from us.
Thanks, David. Thanks for your contribution this morning and always your incredible enthusiasm. We are still with the wild dog as letting an emerald butterfly. Butterfly emerald is in fact the name, although it is a moth. Funnily, it's called a butterfly emerald, which is chased off by the adults, which for me was really cool to see. And to see all of the puppies get up and just chase the adult as well was very, very special. And attack is the best form of defense, and they learnt that in numbers they will outweigh and outcompete. But it is lessons that the youngsters need to learn, and time well spent in the African wilderness where they need to survive the gauntlet of daily survival. Thank you to everyone for your feedback, questions, your photos and everything. And thank you to VM, FC, David and Taylor. We will see you again this afternoon. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.